All right, chat, welcome in. We are live. Hopefully, everybody is joining us off of a good 4th of July weekend. And I got to say, nothing crazy happened. We're kind of sitting here in the calm of the sports storm right now. Nothing really crazy happened in the sports world. I guess, crazy stuff happened everywhere else. But, again, in the sports world, I even missed, of course, the start of Summer League, chat. I mean, hey, it is what it is, I guess. But I'm kind of glad that I was like, oh, wait a second. We're not totally locked in. There's still like levels of, I guess, degeneration for us to fall into for the NBA fandom, where it's like, okay, there's still certain summer league stuff going on that we're like, oh, wait, we might not quite get the start of that. And the Spurs were, I think, playing last night as well too. That's how I was going through Instagram, and as some Spurs, I think, lightly posting because it did not go well, but. There was some stuff, and we don't have all of our summer league team not at full strength. Chat, don't judge us yet, chat. We're not at full strength. Dylan Harper, I think, is still working his way back. There's a couple guys that are not in the mix, but we'll find out. They are playing a little bit later, so I guess we'll see if we watch that game. Probably not. But I mean, I gotta say, I think, and I mean, this is probably true for everybody, but for us, I guess specifically, this is what I've kind of become to realize is that of course, you always view the sports, I think, through if you have a favorite team, you sort of view it through the lens of your favorite team. And again, I mean, obviously you're cheering for your favorite team, but just kind of how everything operates as well too. You view it through the lens of your favorite team, and I guess more so, again, for me, it's more so maybe what is interesting at the time as well too, because again, for the Spurs, when we first started getting into San Antonio and NBA basketball and all different stuff, the Spurs were a powerhouse team. The Spurs were at the top of the game, dominant, and the thought process of being a fan at the time is, how do you contend for titles? How are you building how are you maintaining that title window? How are you just making sure that your roster is in the spots? Those last couple, do we have the pieces to go up against the certain LeBron teams or whatever? And it mostly was LeBron, obviously, for the matchup, because by the time Steph and the Warriors, and then I guess I'm thinking more for Duncan and Ginobili and Parker and those guys, because we did compete obviously with the Warriors with Kawhi and Aldridge and those guys as well too. But for that phase of the team I was thinking about specifically, LeBron, when we were watching him, Shaq and Kobe, when we were a little too early on to start knowing what was happening, but once we started getting memories of the basketball, then of course LeBron had formed into the championship guy that he was, taking his team to the playoffs that far every year. But and since the guys in the team has changed, and then of course Kawhi left, and since we've been and even before the year we went into tank for Wemby, because there was that stretch as well too, we were kind of in the middle, and it was like, okay, are the Spurs gonna tank? Are we gonna try to trade for an older, do we want the younger star to build around, or does Pop want like the older competitive guys to try to win titles with? Like, are we going to get in the trade market for one of those guys? Are we going to get back in the free agency pool? Now that the LaMarcus Aldridge thing is kind of ran its course a little bit. But in that time as well too, the lens was kind of like, okay, I think, because tanking obviously had been in full effect at that time as well too. So it was like, if you're not going to be a contending team, maybe it is kind of smart to tank and reset and try to get the franchise guy in that way, plus the rookie contract element of it as well too, which is becoming even more magnified in the second apron era. But I mean, for all those years, it was like, okay, is tanking the right way to do it? And then sort of the obsession with the draft and the translation of talent, and like, okay, how do you find the superstar guy? What are you looking for? Is the draft really ran? Are there certain things that are translatable? I get that, and then looking in every area of the draft as well too, because as much as you want to say, like, you don't necessarily, you want to sort of, you want all the teams in some way to think of the draft in their own way and not necessarily just stick to mocks and sort of public perception. Again, in some way, and then in some ways we do want them to stick to the mocks. But it is also about finding talent, about how finding the spots, about how the talent gets tiered up as well too, because guys are going to go certain spots in the draft. There's a certain tier of, this is the top talent, this is the lottery talent, this is sort of the middle of the first round talent. These guys make it stretch around, and again, there is going to be guys that one or two that get sort of flipped around in the mix. But it's about identifying the different spots in the draft, and you get kind of, now it's like, now that we have Wemby, and I gotta say, like, I think my mindset is totally shifting, because even with just getting Wembanyama, it's like, okay, we have Wemby, like, there's obviously the main piece of the puzzle, but now collecting maybe the next couple of pieces as well too, setting the rest of the foundation up for the franchise going forward is also important. and it was like, who were the sidekick pieces? But now, I mean, again, we haven't seen Dylan Harper play a second of NBA basketball. Obviously, we've seen Steph Castle have an amazing rookie season, but we still need to see him take multiple steps forward for him to be that championship level guy at the level that we're thinking about him being as well too. But it does feel like that core of guys, I mean, we have a there's a swagger to that group, and maybe it is as well too, just kind of the internet pitting all the Texas teams against each other right now with Cooper Flag versus Amen Thompson versus Wemby, and sort of the core of teams. Which team would you want to have going into the future? But again, the mindset of now that Dylan Harper kind of even adds a little bit more maybe scoring upside as well too into the mix, the mindset of we are the group of guys that can maybe kind of take this team to the next level. Not even, just that they feel like the core is sort of set and that they can sort of handle the next generation of the Spurs team. And I mean, as Spurs fans, I feel like we're confident as well too. As the long way of saying, I feel like my blinders have started shifted now back into the championship mindset. And again, are we going to be OKC this next year? OKC still had a couple of seasons of, getting into the playoff run, falling short against Dallas. Like, maybe this is our year where we make it to the divisional round. And it's like, oh, the Spurs should have been in the conference championship. But even that's obviously like way improvement. Then, if Wembanyama in year 3 and then Dylan Harper, rookie, Steph Castle year 2, if those guys are in the second round of the playoffs, that's obviously going to be a massive achievement. But that's where then, because again, even Summer League would have been interesting in the last couple of years, because like, let's see some of these Spurs rookies, let's Sohan in Summer League, like, let's see what we got here. Maybe is Sohan the franchise guy? Who knows? But it's like, we know that Wemby is projectable. He's a projectable franchise guy in that type of way. We know that Steph Castle has the potential sidekick level skills to pair next to him as well too. And I'm just confident. I'm confident in Dylan Harper. And maybe it's well too, at this point it's like, yeah, we know kind of the certain pick range that there is a limit to what we're going to see in Summer League as well too. So it's not like Dylan Harper's going to be, if Dylan Harper has if he's like Edgecombe, Edgecombe might not even make it to Vegas, chat. Hey, yo, what a pick. I did see that on the gram as well too. What a pick by Philly. I don't know if we can actually well, actually, I know we can't. We can't watch those highlights live. Can we even find the box score, chat? Hey, yo. Are the sports... I mean, they got to be updated. It's the only scores going on right now. Sorry to baseball, but, you got to put the Summer League scores on there instead of the baseball scores. Or the CONCACAF Cup. Hey, yo, chat. Shout out. I guess a little bit later. And, yeah, Wimbledon as well, too, obviously. Not in the team sports, but, yeah, Wimbledon in full effect. Wimbledon's been fun, but there is a little window for us. I mean, I guess we could obviously get up in the morning, commit to watching all of Wimbledon, and it's on at the gym, so it is what it is. But there's a little window for us to really sit down and commit before work. So it's not like we've really been able to lock into Wimbledon, and I guess we could catch up with the highlights as well too, which I think we might have promised to do at one point. But yeah, I guess we haven't done that yet. But it has been on the background at work. Seems like the Wimbledon tournament has been very competitive. Seems like there's been some pretty good matches going on. But do we have NBA? Where's NBA? They don't even have an NBA listed on scores anymore. NBA G League, maybe for no. They probably got a Summer League tab. Yeah, here we go. Okay, Summer League. They got something here. We just at least have to figure out what the VJ Edgecombe performance was last night, and the Ace Bailey performance is also going to get. Sunday, Saturday. Yeah, here we go, chat. And there's okay, so Spurs 69, 80, 69 on the first game. Hey, yo, chat. Hey, yo, they're just trolling really at this point. I don't even know who we had out there in full. Miami was they had Pell Larson. Yeah, it's a cheat code, chat. Jones Garcia. Hey, shout out. 4 for 15 for the field. I was gonna say 18 points, had a good game. Free throw merchant. Jones Garcia. Pell Larson free throw merchant as well too. 10 for 11. For Pell Larson. They're calling fouls in Summer League, chat. Hey, yo. Guys are getting to the line. Look at that. Oh, we got Harrison Ingram back. Carter Bryant, our first round pick. Hey, yo, 1 for 6 in the first game. It's a first game, so if he's out there chucking them up, I mean, that's all that counts at this point. 1 for 6 is fine. I mean, there's going to be a little adjustment period, I would assume, for the guy dialing in the range as well. But yeah, other than that, maybe names that we'll know by the end of Summer League. Oh, Khalil Ware. So, yeah, Khalil Ware, Kashad Johnson, Jackie Konis. Whoa. Pell Larson and then Kira Lewis as well too, which is kind of a sneaky summer league move. I get 2 for 8. Not necessarily the best game, but that is a name value. That's a pretty stacked lineup, and you do have Ware having a good game. 5 for 14 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. So speaking of putting up threes, they said, hello, Ware, go out there and shoot some threes. I think there was a little corner 3 element to his game in the end of the regular season a little bit. And, Bam does obviously have a little bit more of a perimeter element to his game as well, too. While he's not necessarily the 3-point shooter, he's obviously stepping out into the, the mid-range, a little bit of the long 2 type stuff. So, just like, it's Summer League, let him work on the 3-point range. Let him try to expand his game a little bit, and then you'll use him in the roles the right way in the regular season as well, too. But, I mean, all 4 of those guys might, or all 3 of these guys anyways, between Ware, Kasparis, and Larson, all 3 of these guys might actually get real minutes for him in the regular season as well, too. Like, Larson could be a pretty big, a pretty important sort of backup guard for him. Same with, Ukonis being their first-round pick. And then Ware being their first-round pick as well, too, is just obviously going to get more run this year as well. So that's, I'm not expecting us to win. Hey, in Summer League, it's just the competitive right now, chat. It is what it is. But, I guess we had a couple of games. Hey, chat, it was a stacked night last night. Summer League was in full effect. San Francisco, I guess, we got the Spurs in San Francisco right now, chat? What are we doing? We should be out there. But, okay, so the Philly Jazz game was a close game. And Philly, Edgecombe, chat. Good stats, bad team. Puts up the good game, but Philly doesn't get the win. 28 points. 28 on 27 shots. Okay, they leave some of the stats out on the Instagram post. You're just like, oh, look at what he did against Ace Bailey. And, again, there's certain elements of Summer League that you're overlooking as well, too. It's just the aggression in the overall shot making is going to be the thing to look at. And I guess aggression probably, is the thing to look at as well, too, because 1 for 7 from 3 is obviously not great. But Walter Clayton in this game, 2 for 6. Okay, well, off the bench, moving around. You love to see it. Just him getting up looks as well, too. I guess we'd have to see what his looks were. But it just and the Reese cousin was getting some rebounds as well, too. Is this a different one, chat? I think maybe was he on a different team? Because there's a Julian Reese as well, too. I guess I don't even know if he's in this Summer League. Hood Schifino is on the Sixers? Hey, Hood Schifino. So 8 assists, I was going to say, was Hood Schifino just dotting up VJ Edgecombe darting to the basket. Maybe that's what it was, chat. A little Hood Schifino point guard. And, Hood Schifino as the backup point guard for Philly this year. Michael Carter-Williams reincarnated. I don't know if Philly fans want to see that again. But if Michael Carter-Williams was playing with Maxey and McCain and Edgecombe, maybe it's a different story. It's a lot of guards. It's a little cluttered, but, again, you just need pieces at this point. Guys to... And Hood Schifino is a little... Same with Edgecombe. Like, those guys are a little wing-esque. Like, you could probably... it just... We could cross our fingers with Embiid, obviously. But I still believe you could play Embiid, Paul George, Edgecombe, Schifino, McCain, and Maxey, all 5 of those guys together? Maybe? I don't know. You try to trade for Yabusele again? I don't know what the move is there. But that's, it's an interesting lineup. Again, I don't think that the expectations at this point are for Philly to go win the title this upcoming season. So if that lineup is fun, Hood Schifino's out there as the 5th guy in a lineup, and you're like, oh, it kind of works. I mean, Morey might get his reputation back at that point. I don't even remember how they got Hood Schifino on this team. That's got to be a signing, because I don't think they traded for him in the offseason. Or was it part of that 7-team deal that just went down with the Durant trade? The Phoenix just got expanded. All these different working parts got moved in. I don't know if you have to look that up as well, too. It didn't seem like anything else, obviously, like super interesting or crazy was thrown into there. There was another trade that was made that was kind of interesting, but I don't think it was part of the 7-teamer. I think they could have maybe worked it and make it a 9-teamer. Hey, chat. I don't know what kind of, inappropriate trade jokes we could be making there, but did seem like it really, it did get out of hand pretty quickly with a lot of teams getting added into the trade. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. It happens sometimes. So I don't know, if it's on it's got to be on the Spotrac chat. Hey, Spotrac, giving us a virus. What's up with this? thought it was a trustee, just look up the old salary cap website. We're talking about, trade orgies over here. And it's like, oh, wait a second. Viruses are swarming into the computer. But, yeah, let's see if we can actually get reading on what this first ever 7-team trade. I guess, was there a 6-team trade? A 6-team trade. Not a 16-team trade. A 6-team trade in NBA history. I guess I'm assuming there was a 5-teamer. But, hey, yo. But, yeah, wait, is David Roddy part of the trade? Chat, I mean, this is insane. What is this? So shout out to David Roddy, I guess, getting thrown into the trade as well, too. I guess I was wrong, chat. There is some fun pieces getting swapped around here. Traded to Atlanta from Houston as part of a 17 deal. So Atlanta traded Clint Capella to Houston. Atlanta traded Daquan Plowden? Whoa! To Phoenix. Golden State traded Kobe Bryant to Phoenix. Houston traded $85,000 in a 2031 second-round pick to Atlanta. Houston traded Jemai Mashak to Golden State. Houston traded a 2026 second-round pick. Oh, here we go. Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and Kaham Malawach to Phoenix. Houston traded a 2026 second, a 2030 second to Brooklyn. LA traded Rocco Zikarsky and $3.25 million to Minnesota. Whoa, Minnesota, $3.25 million. Going to help A-Rod buy the team bag. Minnesota traded Rasheer Fleming to Phoenix. Phoenix traded Alex Tuhey. Whoa, Chad, we got a Tuhey and a Plowden in this trade. Alex Tuhey to Golden State. Phoenix traded Kevin Durant to Houston. Phoenix traded a 2026 second and a 2032 second to Minnesota. And Brooklyn traded Adu Thoreau to LA. So yeah, I think a lot of these pieces were just like the Brooklyn LA Adu Thoreau trade was made on draft night. So it's like, okay, can we just kind of work in, like, I don't know, we have to go back and just do like a whole, detective corkboard on trying to figure out what the actual pieces for this trade were. I guess the Mark Williams trade was a separate trade as well too, with Phoenix getting Mark Williams in there as well too. But oh yeah, and then David Roddy. So wait, was Plowden? Yeah, Plowden was the next guy listed here. Hey yo, chat. Hey yo. So Brea, I think was he a first round pick or a second round pick? Hey yo, chat. Or was he might even be this past draft, to be honest. I don't remember. He might be a second round pick. Who remembers at this point, chat? But there's a lot of second-round picks flying around. And there's even more second-round picks flying around. Speaking of Houston, I guess this trade was made official before this other trade. Oh, Jay Huff traded to Indiana from Memphis for a second-round pick and a second-round swap. Oh, Jay Huff, he might be able to give you 12 minutes a game if you need it in a couple of discount Cornet. Jay Huff, is Jay Huff a 7-footer, or is he one of those like 6'6" power forward, stretch the floor type? Oh yeah, no, he's 7'1", Chad, and he's 40% from three. Yeah, Jay Huff is not a bad move, honestly. Hey yo, I forgot what Memphis, they got so many guys. It's like I didn't even remember Jay Huff was on the team, and him and Indiana. I guess they don't have Halliburton, but Jay Huff next to Jay Huff and Halliburton. 2026. I don't know if to look up Jay Huff's contract. Is he a long-term option for Indiana? Maybe just get him on the books now and then re-sign him. Oh, they do have him next year, chat. In a club option. Oh, this is a good trade. Whoa, Indiana making moves out here. A couple of seconds. I don't know. They're sacrificing the future of the team, but you got $5 million total for Jay Huff in the next 2 years. Because I don't know if we have to Rosillo this. The team is probably picking up that $3 million a year option in 2027, 28. Make no mistake, aggregate trade restrictions, player cannot be traded with other players until, so this is now, I guess, September 6th. So, the season's not even going to have started at that point. It's not even going to rethink the Jay Huff trade in December. You could probably make the move. You could probably just, I don't know, waive him at that point. Hey, yo, chat. But reacquire restriction, player cannot be traded back to Memphis for 1 year. Oh. Interesting. So if Memphis changes their mind, I guess they have to wait next July to. Look it up. 379,000 guaranteed, fully guaranteed if Huff plays 55 games in 24 or 2025. So, I guess a fully guaranteed 3 million. Does that make you think a little bit differently? But that's kind of fun. How many minutes a game? 11 minutes a game? 50% from the V. Yeah, I mean, he's right in that range. Oh, nice backup center. I don't know. You think Jay Huff in the top, basically the Thomas Bryant role from last year? Is Thomas Bryant still on the team, or did he end up somewhere else? Well, too, we didn't see his name in that 7-team trade. But they also picked up the option, I think, on Isaiah Jackson, or did something there where they brought Isaiah Jackson back as well, too, which, a guy, also a first-round pick. I think a lot of people really like his talent, and especially, again, with a guard like Halliburton, you think Isaiah Jackson's energy, Halliburton's going to be able to find him in the right areas to set him up for success. But, Huff giving you a little bit of the floor spacing element as well, too, and I think defensively, I don't know, you have to go back and watch some of the foot speed stuff from our guy Jay Huff, but that's not bad. That's not bad. Again, the contract, I think this it's honestly just center value at this point is so interesting, where you feel like you have to overpay, or you're finding the deals as well too. I feel like this is a pretty good deal. The Spurs, again, I discount Cornet. We got Cornet on that $10 million a year range. I actually really like that deal, and there's a tradability thing with that as well too. We could always throw that number to something else, and we just don't have a lot of bigger numbers with the rookie contracts, and we still don't even have a crazy contract. But at least that's that's something. It's not a minimum contract guy as well too. But again, as a backup center, and he's also, again, sneaky 7-footer. So you think as maybe like a power forward next to Wembanyama, or Wemby, the power forward next to Cornet, however you want to say it. Hey, OJ, like, you got a 7'6" power forward or a 7'1" power forward. It's a pretty crazy front line. And again, Cornet's pretty good defensively as well too. So he could be, Cornet's a Final Five, honestly, like, in, championship Spurs win the finals this year. Final, hey, like, I don't know. But, well, it's not that, hey, they're not going to probably win the finals this year. But could there be a lineup version of them winning the finals with Luke Cornet out there? It's definitely not impossible. But again, for them to be a fun team that makes a couple of playoff rounds, like, absolutely, Cornet could be a guy in that type of range. And, again, with the guards' size, defensibility as well, too, that they have, it's definitely pretty fun. But, okay, I guess we got a Summer League game firing up right now, chat. Hey, we've got Heat versus Lakers. We've got Bronny out here right now. I didn't know we were going to do a live Bronny watch along, but it is what it is. I guess I got to say, I'm glad Bronny is just in Summer League anyways. I don't know, was Bronny, like, was there a chance that it's like, okay, I made the team last year, like, I don't know if I need to be out there. It's like, Bronny, again, there's maybe, if you're, the second overall pick and they draft your board, but Khalil Ware is still like a near lottery pick. He's going to be out there. Again, I guess Kasparis is a rookie as well too, so he's got to be out there. Did I say it was Heat versus the Lakers? Obviously, Lakers with Bronny, but Bronny with Dalton Connect's back out there. So Dalton Connect was their first round pick in the same year that they took Bronny, and Dalton Connect was actually playing in playing some minutes as well too. So we get Bronny playing a little point guard, chat. I don't know if they're kind of just setting Connect up off the ball. I think that's exactly what was clear out. Oh, the turnover. Who was the defender from Miami that forced that turnover? Quick hands. Again, Connect's one of the guys out there as well, too, that's got the, he's got the sort of NBA tag as well. So good defensive plays, good defensive stops on him are going to mean a little bit more. Kasparis. Oh, speaking of defense, Bronny swoops in, chat, the steal, the dunk. Oh, Bronny. First quarter. You love to see it, first play. Kasparis, the playmaking and the vision, it's all definitely there, but we saw in some of those highlights at Illinois, there is a lot of him just driving into the lane and kind of getting stuck, and I don't know, you get some of the defensive stuff in the NBA, obviously. It's going to be a little bit of a step up. So, that's good stuff. I don't know, does Bronny have a little Lou Dort upside there, chat? I don't know. Sort of the on-the-ball defense from Dort is obviously some of the special stuff, but some of the off-the-ball swarming defensive stuff that OKC had going on as well, too, was crazy. And, Lou Dort, Caruso's probably maybe even a little bit more of a fair comp. But, obviously, Bronny with that DNA, I don't know if there's going to be a filling out pause in the later half of his career as well too. But because Bryce, I think, he's definitely taller than Bronny, but I think he's a little thinner as well too. Like Bronny's definitely built for his size. So yeah, great play, Chad. And Kaspers as well too. The player playing the on-ball defense there, obviously staying in front, forcing sort of the loose dribble and allowing Bronny to swoop in. But just love to see the highlight plays early on, and fun to get those type on the board as well too. I mean, an impact play is an impact play, but are we gonna get the Bronny just one-on-one between the leg crossover mid-range? He now all of a sudden he's scoring and that type of stuff. But he was, I think some of the highlights and some of the stuff about him in the G League was like, okay, he's definitely like, it's not like the G League was bad experience for him, which I think is maybe even the more concerning part of some of the stuff, where it's like, okay, why are we sent this guy to the G League? It's like, why are we not seeing him just like light at the G League? And again, it's, Bronny's not going in there as the corner three, Chet. Whoa, hey, yo, Bronny, Chet, taking over right away. I guess they have 7. Wait, who else scored? Bronny, 5 of the first 7. Does he have all the 7? I don't think so. But yeah, sometimes you're just like, I don't know if the summer league thing feels as it should. And it did feel, again, we start going to the, when is it fair to pick and choose for for anybody, but for a guy like him, is it fair to pick and choose when and how you're going to evaluate him? Because he obviously, of course, got a little bit of an extra boost being the son of a great NBA player. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, he's the end of the second round pick. Like, it's probably a good, if you're going to take a swing on just anybody, like taking him in the 50s is still probably it's not, they didn't necessarily compromise too much of the team to do so. And then you get into some of the contract stuff as well too. So it's like, okay, well now we're kind of back into is there some extra benefits being floated around? But then if you just go back again, it's like, okay, second round pick, and in the 50s, he's going to be in the G League a lot of that rookie year. And if you're seeing him produce in the G League in certain ways, you're like, that's going to be encouraging. And again, it's like, okay, the name value of it is one thing, but there was a comfortability, and it felt, I don't know if we look up the numbers and it's like, he's 50, 40, 90, 25 a game in the G League, but it's not like he was being buried. It's like he was actually, it felt like he was actually being able to run some stuff on the team as well too. And having him again run some stuff is a little bit different, because you think there's definitely a way for him to be a off ball, again with that defense and the 3-point as well too. But if there is a little bit of, okay, second unit, and I guess with anybody, you're gonna want in 2025 some elevated creation skills as well too. But a good couple of plays to start, chat, you'll love to see it. Hey, yo, of course we're pro Bronny here, but yeah, the other trade that was kind of interesting, sneaky, under the radar move. Hey, yo, why are we not getting the scroll here on the SPO track like we did before? Hey, yo, where's the little bar, chat? Yeah, here we go. We missed it. Pat Connaughton, not that move. Jay Huff, it wasn't that move, but it kind of was that move. Cam Whitmore, chat, traded from Houston as part of a team. Oh, so they worked him into the Jordan Poole deal. Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. I saw the Shams post that said he was traded to Washington for the 2 second-round picks. But, yeah, they traded 2026 second and 2029 second to Houston. And Washington trades Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, Micah Peavy to New Orleans. New Orleans trades Mojave King to Houston. New Orleans trades C.J. McCollum and Kelly Olynyk in the 2027 second to Washington. So is Mojave King the piece that was worked into that deal? New Orleans trades Mojave King to Houston, and then because New Orleans was trading McCollum and Kelly Olynyk anyways to Washington, so I think was that second round pick a part of the deal as well too. I guess do we go back and see if there's an original post for that trade? But regardless, kind of a sneaky move for them to. I guess essentially we were thinking when they made this trade, because they made this trade before the draft as well too. So it was like, okay, you're trading away Jordan Poole. Are you going a certain direction in the draft? Which they did. They got Trey Johnson from Texas, who plays a very sort of Jordan Poole-esque style, and you would assume sort of role on the team as well too. But Cam Whitmore can be a guy that can obviously be another one of the, like, okay, is he a swing in that same type of player, but can also, I think, play with a lot of these guys that they've had. And we've talked about the fact that this Wizards lineup still, I mean, Cam Whitmore, as much as we might like it, like, is he going to go in there and be the star? I mean, he might, he might try to be the star anyways, but do we expect him to one day be a finals MVP scoring 30 points a game? I'm not just saying like he would be number one on my list of draft picks necessarily at this point. I'm not really writing it off, but I don't know if, again, you're trading 2 second-round picks for him as well, too. That's not necessarily the expectation of the deal. But also, on the other hand, I don't know really what I'm missing with the Cam Whitmore piece of this as well, too, because it's not like, again, the Houston thing necessarily went badly for him. It's just they were a really stacked team. He was kind of drafted as a little bit more of a developmental project as well, too. And he did fall in the draft as well, so the NBA scouts and some of the stuff, I don't know if we have to go back and remember exactly what was going on there. But because there was, I think some of the assist stuff was not great with him as well, too. I don't know. You pull up the old Cam Whitmore draft report. We don't remember the old negatives that they were all throwing out there for him. Just, the fact that it's like, okay, we remember that we were pro Cam Whitmore. Now, why was that again? But, again, he was still a guy that was a top-rated high school prospect, had a really amazing freshman campaign. I want to say he was, got some awards and stuff as well too, which again, I don't know if you just draft everybody that wins freshman of the year in their conference, but it's not like, again, he wasn't playing well in college. Not even that. He was one of the better players in the conference, obviously on the team as well too. Yeah, all Big East all freshmen, and Big East Rookie of the Year, I'm guessing is what that award is there. So didn't actually make, the all Big East team itself, but still was one of the, here we go, where are the awards at? Yeah, Big East Rookie of the Year, the preseason watch list for Player of the Year. So again, he was going into the year, obviously, as one of the higher rated high school prospects with a lot of hype as well too, but really produced in college. And yeah, he fell in the draft for some other stuff, but again, it's not like when he didn't play in Houston, he didn't still show the flashes that you're like, yeah, this is still the Cam Whitmore prospect that we still believe in. And again, he didn't seem like he got a ton of run in Houston. So maybe I almost wonder if this was like a Cam Whitmore engineered trade where he was like, okay, Cam Whitmore wants to get more shots up somewhere. And again, Washington is kind of a fun place to do that right now. Do you want to overload it with, because again, Houston was kind of in this spot where it's like, do we have too many young guys to try to figure out who's going to be the next up and who's going to be the assets and all the different stuff? But again, Houston's becoming a little bit more established as well too. And I felt like they were becoming more established. It's like Cam Whitmore is a part of that as well, which is why the 2 second-round picks was interesting from the Houston side of things. You drafted him 20th overall. He was a guy that could have been drafted in the top 10 as well too. So I feel like there's still some sort of first-round pick value as well there in sort of a trade. But yeah, here, let's go back and see if we have the depth chart, because I don't know if they'll have it updated with the trade at this point or not. Yeah, they still have Cam Whitmore listed as a power forward. Hey, yo. But, do they not even have it updated with Durant as well, too? 25, 26, 24, 25. Yeah, they don't even have Durant on here. So I guess, we'll go back to the Spo track and see what we got. Where's the Rockets on here? Because they gave up, of course, Brooks and Green, both in the trade. So you bring back Van Fleet, you bring in Finney Smith, who's going to play in the front court. So maybe if you are thinking that Cam Whitmore, of course, is going to be more of a front court player, then yeah, you've definitely bulked that spot up for sure. But still, you've got, let's see, Reed Shepard, Amen Thompson as your backcourt guys. You've got Durant, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, and we have Van Fleet as well too as a backcourt guy. And I guess Aaron Holiday. We're not anti-Aaron Holiday. We're pro all the Holidays on this pod, so the basketball players anyways. But so you got Van Fleet, Holiday, Reed Shepard, and Amen Thompson in the backcourt. You've got Dorian Finney-Smith, Durant, Jabari Smith, and then you got Capella, Adams, and Sengun as your center rotation. But yeah, Eason, Durant, Jabari Smith, and Dorian Finney-Smith as your wing rotation. And Jeff Green might be able to give him some minutes, but you're probably bringing him in more as just like a veteran, emergency valve, have a good presence in the locker room type guy as well. And then, like we said, yeah, no, good center rotation for sure as well. But it's not like it would have been impossible to see Cam Whitmore get minutes in this backcourt. Because, again, Amen and Van Fleet, there's still going to be some experience there as well, too, that you may rely on. But Reed Shepherd, defensively, there's still definitely question marks there for how he would be able to hold up. And same with, Holiday as well, too. So you just, Cam Whitmore's size and versatility with his scoring ability, you would assume that there'd be some spot for him there to at least see what you're going on. Because, again, in 2 second-round picks, like, that's definitely a trade that you could make, at any point for Cam Whitmore. And I don't, I feel like, this starts to get to where, do you just blame other teams for not making this move? But you're like, okay, if you could have gotten him for 2 second-round picks, it's like, how many second-round picks do the Spurs have laying around? Like, do we have 2 to throw out there for Cam Whitmore? Like, maybe, I don't know if Houston's going to do deals with another Texas team, but it would be interesting to have seen what kind of mobility was there. So, again, they're getting worked into another move that was being made already with Washington. I don't know if that helped in any kind of way, but yeah, that's a move where now just another upside guy, first round pick type player to just throw in the mix who can be a front court, back court, versatile guy. Like I don't think he takes away from Carrington or Holiday for Johnson in a developmental way, because all those guys can, I think, play together in a let's just see what we have type of way. You can definitely play them, and then you have Sarr and Sarr, and then do they have a center? Did I forget? I guess you still got like Middleton and now McCollum, of course, for veterans just hanging out there as well. But is there Olynyk? Ayo, I'm forgetting about Olynyk. But is there another front? Oh, Koulibaly. Yeah, so you could have Koulibaly at the 4. I know, is Sarr long term a 5, or is he more of a 4? But I think either way, if Sarr's going to be that type of guy, I think there should be a versatility either way with his type of game, with the player that he is. But if you had Sarr, Koulibaly, Whitmore, Trey Johnson, and Bub Carrington as your point guard, that's a lineup I like that lineup, Chad. I don't know if, again, I like that lineup for Summer League, or if I like that as a 7 seed or what, but I like whatever that could be. The best version of that is definitely very, very fun. And now you've got, again, Keshawn, George, if we're just, maybe that's not your exact starting lineup, but if that's the most fun 5 they can put out there, then the other 5 guys that you have, of course, are, like we said, the 2 veterans in McCollum and Middleton. You've got George as your other first-round pick. And Champagnie had a good showing last year as well, too. So that's 4 guys off your bench that are kind of like, okay, we don't feel worse about our bench guys, And again, is it, okay, we've got a 7 seed either way we play the roster? But again, it's like, okay, one satisfies the sort of long-term, do we have pieces to build around? And then also, yeah, we have some veterans in the immediate, maybe we do make a playoff push this year and see what happens. Because, again, they could, go up and get maybe Dembasta's the guy, or whoever are the boozers in the draft this year? Like, maybe they get a boozer twin or something to be like the actual, is this the franchise piece going forward? But maybe they need a playoff type effort this year. Try to make a play-in type effort, and then maybe there's a trade for a guy. The Giannis stuff is definitely Giannis in Washington is not, again, is it the number 1 landing spot for Giannis? Probably not, but it's not something to totally write off as well too. Like, imagine Middleton. Like, how many years do they have Middleton for on the deal? Where's he at, chat? Hey, yo, is he a free agent? They got him on the expiring? No, so, okay, he's an expiring this year. So imagine, at the trade deadline, things would have to, things are already turning quickly. So it would be, 8-ish months from now. It's not, still closer to more than a full year than not. But, the idea of Middleton being used back in a Giannis trade could be kind of nuts, because he does get you quite a bit of the salary. And same with McCollum, honestly. Like, McCollum and Middleton, I guess, are you going to want to use up all your salary in a Giannis deal to get back players that are expiring deals? Unless you're getting back, every future pick that the Wizards have, obviously. 10 first-round picks in the future. I don't know if they've traded a bunch. Upcoming deadlines. Hey, yo. Whoa, future, a lot of decisions. They got a pick going to the Thunder? Or they have a pick coming in from the Thunder? but they do have their own first-round picks for the next couple of years, and some others as well too. It looks like to potentially move around. So with that collection of talent, like I don't know, is Whitmore a guy that could be in that type of trade as well too, or maybe it is Koulibaly? You know, if you're bringing in Giannis, you're solving a lot of those front court problems for sure. So, and you know, Giannis in an Eastern Conference, like I guess the point would be maybe you go with the 7 seed showing or the 6, like maybe you get to a 6 seed if you're Washington this year. Oh, what happens? And then you go, man, like you know, the next season after that, like maybe we are actually ready to make a push with some of these guys. Like whoever kind of proves to be those players, if Sarr proves to be those players. I mean, if Koulibaly proves to be one of those guys, then, you know, trading him is obviously going to be a little bit more of a different conversation at that point. But if you do feel like there's a version where 2 or 3 of the young guys that you do have could be those type of guys around Giannis, and then you have cap space and the ability to fill out the roster with some veterans, or I guess you wouldn't have the draft picks at that point to do it. But they're close. They're close, and maybe it's somehow you could get maybe it's some McCollum and Middleton. They have to trade them for a couple more parts to see if they can just continue to. Because again, now the problem is, especially in the second apron thing, is depleting your team too much in trading for a superstar player versus, you know, again, just building with the roster that you have now, where it's like, okay, are we right on the verge of these guys could be the supporting cast, but then we're depleting the supporting cast too much to bring in Giannis, where the Rockets kind of did get to that point now where, you know, it's like, okay, Amen Thompson could be a low-key franchise guy, but probably maybe a number 2, but also a number 1 as well. And then we just have all these collection of role guys that can be great players. And then, you know, Jalen Green, what is he? I mean, you know, they definitely, you know, maybe the Suns took 1, 2, or, you know, maybe they took a little bit of a discount on the Durant trade, but also, again, Durant's an older superstar as well, too, so his value was probably not that great going around for the league, just in terms of giving up multiple years worth of assets. Versus, again, Jalen Green, if you're thinking about trading him anyways, maybe he's not long-term specifically on the team, but you still get to the spot where you can make the move and feel good about your supporting cast. I don't know if Washington is quite there yet, you know, a couple of steps away. But, you know, A.J. Johnson, hey, yo, Milwaukee having to trade those pieces back for in a Giannis trade. You get Middleton, A.J. Johnson, McCollum, and a bunch of picks for Giannis. Hey, yo, maybe Champagne. But I guess it would be like, you know, again, are you thinking Champagne? Maybe Champagne and A.J. Johnson are the guys that are left. And George, maybe he's in the trade as well, I don't know. But maybe you're like, okay, Champagne, A.J. Johnson, Sarr, and Giannis. And Kispert as well, too. Kispert's a sneaky, he could go either way. Maybe you would honestly want him more again if you have Giannis, because he's probably he's going to be entering more of his prime years. So if you're Milwaukee, are you thinking, are we building around Kispert, or are we going to have that? Or is Kispert going to be the guy, role player guy next to whatever young studs that we have? And of course, Milwaukee doesn't really have those, and they don't have a ton of picks as well too. So they'd probably want to get younger players back. But if you had Kispert, Sarr, you know, again, there's a version of the team. I think there's becoming a version of the team. Maybe Giannis is just the one name that's going to be too much for, you know, anybody. But I guess in the easier right now superstar to float out there. Maybe if it's even, you know, again, like a Karl Anthony Towns type move as well. I don't know who another sort of second team All-NBA guy that feels like could be on the teeter of, maybe the team would want to mix it up, maybe not. Just depends on what the package sort of would be in return. Maybe, you know, like I guess if we want to get really risky, and this is, again, now we're applying the situation here to Washington, but this could be for any sort of team looking in this way going forward. Again, the OKC thing is going to get tricky in a couple of years. Like, it's Shea's got his bag now, and they could just be like, okay, whatever it takes to pay this trio, like we've seen us try to break this up in the past, we'll just pay the trio, and then Sam Presti will figure out the rest of it. Like, literally, that'll be the formula. But maybe they get to a point where it's like, okay, Shea and Chet and a couple of the other pieces are like in the $12 to $15 million a year range, or $20 million a year range on the budget. We really kind of want to spend for, you know, some of the depth in the roster as well too. Like, there might be a situation, and again, just these second, maybe Jalen Williams makes another, I don't know what another All-NBA would do for his sort of, if he's on like a first or second team All-NBA or something like that, for what that would do for his max contract eligibility. But if he becomes a guy that could get too expensive in OKC, like maybe he's a tradable, maybe he's a guy you want to trade for, and say, hey, can we build a team around Jalen Williams? You know, is Ja going to be that type of guy? But is Jaren Jackson going to be that type of guy? You know, could you think about maybe, and then maybe Sarr is on the table in that type of trade. You know, you're thinking Sarr for Jaren Jackson. Maybe, you know, the trade is not Giannis level in the trade package, so you're really maintaining a lot of the younger pieces around it as well too. It's like, okay, can we supercharge this? And again, Jaren Jackson just got paid as well, so that's a different conversation compared to Sarr now. Jalen Williams is obviously right now, keep an eye, because that's kind of the one hope of the future of OKC at this point, is the team just becomes too expensive and they can't pay for it all, and somebody has to go out and acquire Jalen Williams as the lead guy. But that is a number 2 guy that could be a guy on the team, because, you know, as much as we're like the player movement dynasty sort of balance for how do we keep teams together for enough years versus, you know, what's the sort of spread of talent is around as well too, because the player empowerment thing, as much as it's broken up the teams, the spread of the talent, again, it has gotten us to a place where we're like, okay, is the league is ready for expansion. I mean, the talent in the league, whether or not I guess it's stacked up on one team or not, is still the talent in the league. But he is a number 2 guy that you're like, he could definitely take a step up and go that way. Because I guess even the last handful of years as well too, like that Golden State team was obviously the end of the run. Like Klay, you know, he got the Mavs deal. I guess the Mavs believe that Klay can. But even now, again, Klay's not going to be the second best player, even the best player in the team. Like they had Davis, they had Luke at the point. But, you know, now they have Davis, now they have Cooper Flag, and Kyrie. So, you know, he's D'Angelo Russell. Hey, I was like, you're going to be at least the 5th best guy on the team. But, you know, Jaylen Brown, there's always a little bit of and he got too expensive right away as well too, versus Jalen Williams is going to be off of that rookie deal into the next deal, and then it would be the next deal after that. But then maybe they trade him while he's still, you know, I guess, yeah, figure out the logistics of a trade 4 years from now. But that could be that type of guy, you know. I don't know, is marketing a franchise guy, but the Wizards, I don't know if I have to take Sam's bit and adopt a team of the year. Because, you know, the Spurs, now that we're a title contending team, we can adopt one of these, you know, rebuild efforts, I guess. But, hey, yo, the Wizards are going to win more games than the Spurs this year, now that I'm jinxing it. But that would be, hey, yo, chat. I don't know if that'd be a disastrous year for the Spurs or just an incredible year for the Wizards. Probably a little bit of both. But I like this Wizards core. If Wemby was on this, you know, and again, I would still draft. Honestly, like I would, you know, maybe honestly, biasly, now I'm just, my subconscious is twisted and I'm biased, but I would still probably take Wemby, Dylan Harper, and Steph Castle as the top 3 guys in a draft if we were combining these 2 rosters. But again, the supporting cast pieces of it is pretty good. And a lot of it is, you know, Trey Johnson is just sort of the rookie. Again, Trey Johnson was the 6th pick in the draft versus Dylan Harper was just the 2nd pick in the draft. Like, there is just that instant draft. So, like, Trey Johnson could be better than Dylan Harper. It's not that far off where they were sort of placed in that type of setting. So, bringing in Cam Whitmore is pretty fun, chap. I don't know, Cam Whitmore, Eastern Conference All-Star. I don't know if he goes on that list, but the Wizards, I don't know if this is this just a hot take right now? The Wizards will have an All-Star in the Eastern Conference roster. They will have one, chat. I don't know who it will be. I don't know. FanDuel, they should make this a prop. We should be able to bet. Who will be an All-Star in the East? Like, what are my odds on Bub Carrington? Like, if Trey Johnson is 18 a game in the Eastern Conference and the Wizards are kind of 500 by the time they get to the All-Star game, like, why would he not be an Eastern? I guess, you know, we look at the whole Eastern Conference. But should we ask ChatGPT which Wizard would most likely be an All-Star? I feel like, well, it may get twisted at that point. You know, Chris Middleton, the veteran, same with, you know, I guess probably not Marcus Smart at this point. Olynyk? Hey, yo, Olynyk as an Eastern Conference All-Star. And I guess Sarr with the two-way impact potential as well, too. The Hubie Brown, Alex Sarr, he's got incredible, tremendous upside defensive potential, for sure. But, but you know, maybe that helps with the All-Star case as well. And I guess they don't have the McCollum deal listed on here quite yet. So McCollum, Eastern Conference All-Star? McCollum has been kind of efficient the last couple of years. Like, you never know. And McCollum, like, is this a better spot for him than New Orleans? Like, less pressure. I think the New Orleans situation, it was teetering on them trying to turn the corner with Zion as a franchise guy, and then ultimately, that kind of is the thing that unfortunately has not set New Orleans up in the way that they maybe have wanted to. But if he is more, okay, he can be a backup guy versus be the main guy, because New Orleans, I guess, never had the depth around him as well, too, the same kind of way. And, to protect C.J. McCollum, building your roster in that way, $30 million guy. But they traded for him a little bit as well, too, to kind of be, he was, okay, can he take a step up? But you traded for him maybe just on a little bit of the wrong part of the timeline for bringing him in. But if he now moves into a bench role, and again, his contract is kind of obsolete on this team. They have rookie contract guys. They're not really, it is what it is. He's an expiring this year as well, too. So, perfect timing now we're back to perfect timing to bring in McCollum. A little bit rough on the contract number. I don't know if we could have just, mapped that out to just change one of these, chat. I feel like we can't even have that on screen at this point. That alone, honestly, I just changed my mind. CJ McCollum's contract number just jinxed the Wizards, which I don't know why. Bad luck, Chad. It made me think of this, but I was gonna queue up Sinners and just have that going in the background because make no mistake, it is on streaming again, and it's already been on in the background several times. So it dropped on. Did I say on streaming again? It's on streaming now on HBO. So I guess it's in the watch cycle again. We're watching it again, I guess is the better way to say it. And this has to be probably. Oh, I just changed the summer league game. Oh no, chat, Bronny, what have I done? I didn't mean to. I guess what do we? Hey, yo, chat, what's gonna get the main TV? Ryan Coogler or Bronny James? I don't know if that should be a discussion, but again, I guess we're close to those last levels of degenerate fandom. It's really just the guys that are waiting. The guys that are waiting to bet on Summer League. I don't know if there is a level of degenerate NBA fandom below that. That might be the lowest one. I guess maybe that guy that loses his house waiting to bet on Summer League could be the last level. I don't know. But that, again, we're not waiting for Summer League to bet necessarily the events and stuff. But for the watching and stuff, of course, it is fun. But this is definitely the most probably excited I've ever been for a movie to hit streaming. And again, now, of course, the last couple of years, sort of the cycle of the movie being released in the theaters and then sort of the direct, especially, of course, now with Warner Brothers being set up in that major way as a studio, as a streaming service, I should say, set up with a studio that has the pipeline. Because Netflix, of course, obviously, being set up as a streaming service, they didn't have the immediate, when they started doing it, like they have theatrical releases, but it's still, you don't necessarily expect a theatrical release from a Netflix movie. And maybe you do now. Maybe you do a little bit now. If a Netflix movie is big enough, you probably actually do expect a theatrical release from someone. Because there was one movie that I was seeing they released, maybe it was that new Frankenstein movie. Or is it, there's a new monster movie, I forget the details, but I think it may be a Frankenstein movie. Is Jacob Elordi in that? Oh, hey, yo. Maybe that's, I don't know why that would be the name that popped up, but maybe it's like, okay, a Jacob Elordi role in movies, kind of the first time maybe he would cross over into our watching the same time. Frankenstein, hey, yo, chat. But it was like, there was some movie like that where people were like, Netflix needs to put this out in theaters. Like, we can't just be watching this on our TVs at home. Which is good that, of course, that's still at least in demand in some way. But now that this pipeline has been set up in this type of way, because, I've been thinking about this a lot with Tenet as well, too. Because Tenet's just not streaming anywhere. And I've just been really wanting to rewatch Tenet lately. It is what it is. But that movie, of course, got dropped directly on streaming, if I want to say, or hit streaming very quickly. And, the pandemic and all that stuff, it was an interesting time for Tenet. But the system, I don't think, was totally set up again for a movie to just be like, okay, we know it's going to hit the theaters. And again, even still, that was like 5 years ago at that point. Like, it was like, okay, is it going to hit the theaters? And then this is the timeline for it to be on streaming right after that. Because the Marvel, like through the whole MCU run, and again, Disney Plus really wasn't even set up at that point. But like the whole MCU run, you don't have the streaming service anticipation of the next movie. And to be honest, I mean, not to say that an MCU movie wouldn't be great to where you would watch it again, but the whole point of the MCU was to set you up for the next movie, so you're always leaving the next theater, and the anticipation from an MCU movie is, I want to see the next movie. And maybe that is just where we've been at with movies at lately, and I guess I haven't really even thought about that until right now, but is that a function of the movies themselves, or what we expect as fans in the movies? Because again, my reaction for a movie like this was, and again, there's some like, well, I guess spoiler alert, whether or not there's spoiler alerts, like I guess the movie kind of does both things. Like at the end, of course, you get a very finale type scene with one of the twins, of course, going back. I guess again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet, which if you haven't, of course, immediately queue it up on HBO. I imagine with the box office number and the fact that it's the number one movie right now on HBO, that number of people that haven't seen it is slowly becoming a little bit limited. Because even, again, it just now dropped on streaming. So even, within the last, just since that movie's been released up until now, I've been talking to people that are like, oh yeah, I just saw it. Then a couple weeks later, like, oh yeah, I just saw it. Oh yeah, I was able to find a play, and then maybe even some of the pirating stuff as well too, people dabbling in that. But again, it's like, okay, there's an effort for people to trying to go see this in some way for the first time. And again, that whole conversation as well too is a different one in terms of the success of the movie industry. But if we're just talking about the anticipation of people wanting to see a movie, it's like, okay, at least it's still there. It's like, okay, is the UFC making money off me pirating the fight? But in some ways they are, because that means there's enough people interested. So I guess not every, I'm not saying that. I'm just using myself as an example in this situation. That's all. But again, well, what I was saying, they give you that final scene with the twin, of course, in the final showdown with the KKK members at the juke joint. But they also, in the end credit scene, do kind of leave the path open with the other twin and Haley Steinfeld alive for them to be set up for some type of future stuff. But the anticipation leaving the theater was not, and again, even rewatching this movie now and the end credit scene stuff, it's like, yeah, actually what would be awesome is a movie of them two just wandering around as vampires, just seeing what they're up to. But again, even still, it's not necessarily the thing that I want most from this movie. The thing that I really want most from this movie is just to watch this movie again. And that's not really a thing that, again, the MCU movies are great. And I've again, some of them, and not just compare this to the MCU as well too, but to maybe use that as a broader term for, again, the franchisization of some of these movies. Because I was rewatching John Wick a little bit as well too recently, and it's like, that was another one where you're just like, okay, I kind of want to see just this again and what just happened. But they did always kind of like, oh man, John Wick, he's barely alive. Like, what's going to go on for the next movie? They are always kind of teasing the next movie. So again, I'm not saying that this movie doesn't do it, but it is in a post-credit scene as well too. So again, it's an MCU thing as well. And Coogler, has also obviously left his stamp on that universe as well. But, and with us not necessarily being as big into the horror stuff, maybe some of the one-off horror stuff is a little bit better for the individual films. But even still, it feels like all of the stuff that becomes iconic, it's like we want to see, like that X franchise, that the initial movie was like, oh, is this kind of becoming a cult classic? And then, oh, all of a sudden now there's 3 of them. It's a franchise. There's another one that I was just thinking of as well too that was like, oh, are we getting a Long Legs 2? Like, am I crazy? Again, it's just like everything is now, of course, again, rumored to have a sequel. But I want to say that I saw, not Long Legs 2024. I want to say that I did see something for a Long Legs 2 sequel. Chances addressed. If only the Massacre's Audible program has spoken on the odds making a sequel. Let's see what it says here, chat. So, again, maybe that's just where we're at in 2025. It's like somebody is just like, okay, well, we need a sequel for this. But the ending of Long Legs certainly brought things to a conclusion. Okay. I'm thinking the ending is about as bad as it could have turned out. So maybe no sequel for Long Legs. Yeah, but I was like, okay, if we get a sequel for Long Legs, that might be... And, maybe now we get a Long Legs franchise where it's not necessarily a direct sequel, but sort of a, kind of a spin-off in the similar vein type thing. But yeah, and the the just again the wanting to rewatch the one movie sort of aspect of it is probably the most that. And I was thinking as well too about that particular aspect. And again, you just like how many of the sort of one-off movies are we even making in 2025? But the idea that you would just want to see the same story over and over again is not necessarily something that has been totally cracked as well too. And the of course Hollywood is just in an interesting spot right now with the the chasm between sort of what people want and the award stuff and what's being addressed and what is popular and what is getting the big number and the splitting of the IP and all this different stuff. But the rewatchability of this movie, I could say it almost feels like this movie stands out for its time a little bit more than some other movies have had. Because again, you go back and look like it just, I'm not saying that Hollywood was worse, of course, back in the day. Like in some ways, obviously Hollywood was better when it's like you look at the top 10 and just every story is different. But the idea that Sinners stands out as a different story because of that is not necessarily something that was happening as well too back in the day. Again, I can't necessarily speak for the 80s and the 90s in terms of the conversation. I guess we could, continue to go back and read some of the stuff. But because everything's not expected to be a franchise, like originality is obviously still awarded. Like there's categories for it in the Oscars and all those different things, and you're still like, okay, what's the best thing that we're adapting from a book? What's the best thing that somebody is cooking up on their own? But again, seemed like there was more mainstream stuff for that back in the day. And even last year, the biggest movies were still based on a historical event and a piece of IP that just really had one of the few pieces of IP that haven't been addressed left in Barbie. So the historical event thing is not honestly totally fair as well too, because that is a good formula for a hit movie and a good thing that people want to see. And if it's an original take on a new event, then obviously it's in some ways an original story to the movie screen as well. But just the sort of here is a introduction of a new version of a story into the culture is pretty fascinating. And the other movie that I think has really hit this for me in the deck, besides Tenet, chat, besides Tenet, is probably Everything Everywhere All at Once, which again is a little, I guess this is a vampire-y type movie, so there's some similarities with other movies as well too. But that as like an action-y movie, and the story in that is, you're like, okay, this is definitely something a little bit different than what we've been getting from the other movies in this lane. But that as well too, standing out in that time, because even a movie like Top Gun as well too, it was definitely a legacy sequel, and there was definitely time to breathe between the movies, and bringing it back didn't necessarily feel wrong as well too, and people wanted to see a second version of that story, and it worked, and it felt like they did a lot of the fan service, and a lot of the people were happy with the way it turned out. But it's still building on the strength of the previous movie, and it's still that sort of legacy sequel type thing. So I don't want to say that this is like, well, I guess I don't really know again the scale to this movie, because even we have trouble with this in the NBA sometimes. I mean, we're having trouble in the NBA right now, I think, with Shea, trying to put him into sort of historical context with the season that he just had. And there's just a newness thing to it that you have to kind of digest and see it over time. And the prove it factor has to definitely be there. So obviously the sort of in the moment cultural hit that a movie like this has, you will only get one shot at that for that opening week type of release. But for, I think, the anticipation as well too, for people wanting to see it again, for the second life for it to, when it re-hit streaming, and just for that again, will people constantly be watching it, and it works so well. And sometimes some of the pacing of movies in 2020s and 2025 and all the different, like, are we being the most efficient version of storytelling? And then when we have to sort of cut out movies, it feels like the shorter versions of movies now are longer movies that have just been cut down in a way. But this does feel like a complete story in a good amount of time, and you get original characters and original sort of vibe and setting where you're like, if I want to see this and I want to be in this world and experience it, like, I have to go to this movie and I have to watch it here. And as I said, I think the originality of this is gonna make it an extra important movie as well than it could be if it was just released in like the, and I guess, you know, obviously culturally as well too, if a movie like this gets released earlier, then it makes waves in different ways and is able to probably, you know, maybe continue to help break down barriers and tell stories in different types of ways. But now just the idea of, again, somebody creating something totally new and it hits and it works and there's going to be legs to it, that is really exciting. And yes, I do want to see a movie where the vampires and, you know, Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld are running around as vampires, and maybe there's a TV show on HBO Max that they want to do off of this as well too, where it's like the adventures of Sammy after he gets his thing. It's like, okay, here's Miles Canton's now TV show prestige opportunity for him to continue to expand his star power. Like, I'm not saying I don't want to see these things, but it also doesn't feel like the movie needs to have these things, but in a good way as well too. Like, again, if we're comparing it to a movie like John Wick, it felt like there was a, and again, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, we don't want to spend more time in the world, but there was like a, oh, there is a obvious sort of continental show here to be done, and there's obvious sort of IP pieces to be spun off and expanded on if we were building more shows and more properties. And I guess the idea is, I don't know if this is the right way to say it as well too. It's the point is to be complimentary, but the idea is the story is so well told in the time that it's told that it feels like a complete story. And again, John Wick is a movie like that. It's start to finish, a very simple sort of mission accomplished type story, and you get from point A to point B, and you feel like, you know, okay, yeah, he got his dog back, he got the revenge, he got, you know, whatever mission accomplished needed to be, like, he got the thing done. But there's still always sort of more work to be set up, where it's like, okay, Sammy sort of takes off a new life. The twins are now, you know, no longer the same. The juke joint, whatever that setup was supposed to be for the one night or whatever, you know, the life is different. The night, the impact of the night was enough to just be told in the one story, and for it to just be sort of that one rewatchable thing as well too. I don't know if anybody, I don't think any of this made sense, chat, but even the long story being, this movie will definitely be on in the background quite a bit. But I think I was getting lost as well too. But yeah, I was thinking the idea of it just being an important story for now, because of it being a news story, is definitely I think something that is going to help the legacy of this movie as well too. But yeah, I mean, this like I've said before, I just kind of like the movies to just work as like art pieces in the back. It's like, yeah, I don't have paintings, I just have movies playing all the time. So Sinners is definitely going to be the newest installation. Just like, oh, what's this new? Oh, Sinners, just on in the background all the time. Good choice. But yeah, this is a fun one that we're definitely going to wear out the tape for sure. Hey, yo, chat. You know, back in the day, there might have been multiple reasons for that, but also because it's a quality movie, I think that helps. I think that definitely helps. But, and, you know, great action scenes. Coogler's always making, you know, you get a couple of good fights with the vampires. When the clips were starting to pour out, like, I was like, there's a couple of scenes that I just have to go back and rewatch. Again, a lot of the fight scenes, but then the last showdown with him and the clan is great as well too. And then just the last, the story setup is great, because that was the thing in the theater, leaving the theater, that we were talking about as well too, was, and, you know, this is the thing that Champ was saying when we were leaving the theater, because he obviously has a little bit more experience with some of the horror stuff, was like the setup getting you to the horror stuff was some of the best that he'd ever seen. But then when they turn, and once you're fighting in the vampires and it's just all hell breaks loose, like the action stuff is obvious, it is just amazing as well too, and just great high level action stuff. So, you know, Coogler, I mean, really did. I hope this movie just continues to have the conversational legs to be able to carry it into the award season for next year, because you don't want to just think any movie like, can we drop it like on the right time, where how does the conversation carry into the Oscar stuff, because at the end of the day, it's probably kind of random, and different storylines are going to win out over different stuff, and it's whatever is the vibe of the Oscars at the moment. But I mean, I can't think of I'm not some of the underground stuff, maybe not underground, but some of the non as mainstream stuff is maybe ranked higher on some lists, but there definitely hasn't been a hit. Like, even like a movie like F1, like, it's been great, but I don't think it was like the revelation that a movie like this is. Like, I haven't really seen F1 yet, so I think maybe the number I think is probably going to be fine for it as well too. But yeah, this is obviously a special movie. And again, with these guys being so early in their careers as well too, that's like with the Shea thing, that's another thing where it's like, okay, is this like the best version of a Shea season that we're ever going to get? Like, statistically, you would kind of look at that and go, it definitely could be, but also he's just like the youngest version of a player where he's going to be this great as well too. Like, Coogler has made enough movies where he has the momentum of a great filmmaker to have enough pieces to put together to make a great film like this. Michael B. Jordan has had the acting skills, obviously, to be able to build up into this type of performance. But Michael B. Jordan, I don't think he's even 40 yet. Again, Coogler has only made a handful of movies. Like, you would both still say the next generation of filmmakers. Like, I don't want to call this movie like a modern time Goodfellas, but I don't want to necessarily say it's not that either as well too, because it feels like the reception in the moment was there for it. It feels like the legs for it are going to be there as well too, the anticipation for sort of the second release. I don't know, like the DVD release for Goodfellas compared to the streaming release for Sinners. But just that type of legacy defining, generation defining movie is really great. And again, like the Oppenheimer moment and Top Gun moment as well too, like those movies are, they did capture the culture in maybe a little bit of an extra way as well too. I would get into that conversation, but if we're breaking down movie of the decade, like, those are really the only two, and I guess Barbie as well too, Ayo. But there's not like a ton of other movies that would just be in that immediate conversation. And again, the COVID stuff at the beginning of the decade, like, can't be underrated in sort of how that affected the industry. But at this point, it's like, okay, we're halfway through, and it's like, yeah, we kind of got one that is going to be like establishing of this time period of film for sure. But yeah, I don't know. We got trades, we've got new watches, we've got Summer League. The Lakers are up by 10. Is Bronny still putting up points? Hey, yo, shout out to Vegas taking out a 2-win Connecticut Sun team right now. They were 17.5-point favorites going into this game, so they better 18 points. It's like, okay, we're just now barely covering at this point. There's been some games where it's like, oh man, if Asia Wilson was in the NBA, would we be like, is Asia Wilson gonna request a trade? I don't know if Bam, hopefully, I feel like Heat culture, like, maybe that's the one, NBA boyfriend she could have. Like, if it was like Asia Wilson and Kevin Durant, it's like, oh, Asia Wilson's gonna be requesting a trade here in a couple of months. But maybe Bam, Heat culture, it's like, nah, just, Vegas, Becky Hammon is the best place to be for sure. But minute 21 left in the half. Bronny 3 for 7, 10 points, 2 for 5, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. 0 assists. Hey, yo, Chad, Bronny, pass the ball a little bit. Hey, yo, he's a score first, Chad. I guess, I don't know if Bryce has the playmaking gene from his dad, but Bronny got the scoring gene, apparently. Hey, yo, Dalton Connect 0 for 3. Bronny James should have been the first-round pick in the draft, Chad. Who knew? Cole Swider, number 41. You love just a number 41 just tearing up Summer League. Like, we'll get like a number 72, some guy wearing a 80, 83, just dropping 25 in a Summer League game is always a good time as well too. But let's take a quick break, chat, and then we've got an anniversary of one of the most fun, underrated projects of the last, 15, 20 years of hip hop. Our guy Big Boy, we've got a 15-year anniversary of Sir Lucius Leftfoot, and we will remember that album on the other side. All right, chat, we are back, and I was saying, I was hoping that this, again, we got Sinners on in the background in case you guys are just joining us, for those just tuning in. But, I was saying that I hope this movie has legs for the award season. Again, the movie itself, I guess, Best Picture will be something. I think the acting performances will have legs. I think people are ready for the Michael B. Jordan moment, and we just got to the point where Delroy Lindo introduced on the screen chat at the train station. But Delroy Lindo for supporting, I would not necessarily put that off the board as well too. But the Michael B. Jordan performance, I was thinking as well too, and I'm sure that this was a conversation at the time. But I don't know. Could Chalamet have done this, chat? I would say, is there anybody under 40 that could have actually, had this performance that Michael B. Jordan legitimately had? I mean, they just had the scene where, again, driving to pick up Delroy Lindo, he gets Sammy to play the guitar for the first time, and just the Michael B. Jordan looking over on his face, like realizing sort of how talented Sammy is. Because you forget as well too, I mean, as sort of, a little under-addressed storyline of the movie is the sort of the musical aspect of the connection between Sammy and the vampires. But it is also to point out that Sammy is just, amongst the most talented out there. But just the look on Michael B. Jordan's face to like, oh man, this kid can play, and now like the look from shock and realization, then into enjoyment, and just having a good day. Like, it really is a great performance. Like if he's not nominated for Best Actor, then obviously thumbs up, chat. But just in the bigger picture as well too. Again, Chalamet obviously is it's a different conversation for why Chalamet's in this movie. But if we're just talking about if there's a version where we're rewriting this movie around Chalamet, hey yo, chat, now we're taking stories away from people. Oh, no, cancel us now. But just to compare potential performances, I don't know if there was a performance. Could Chalamet have also enjoyed that bottle of Chicago beer as much as Delroy Lindo did right there? I mean, Delroy Lindo again is, I don't know what's the lock for Oscar in this movie, but I think again, are we putting a lot of stock in just this one performance here? And has Chalamet won an Oscar already? But would I bet now Michael B. Jordan would win an Oscar before Timothy Chalamet, chat? Hey yo, I gotta double check his career. Is there a supporting a win in here that I'm not thinking of? I feel like he's gotten some Globes maybe, right? Or something. But he has, am I crazy? Has he actually won 2 Academy, nominated for 2 Academy Awards? His accolades include French Guild a Screen Guild Actors Award, and again nominated for some Academy Awards. I don't did Jordan get nominated for Fruitvale Station, or did he get nominated for Creed? No, Rocky Stallone got nominated for Creed, but I don't know if Michael B. Jordan got nominated for any of those performances yet. Let's see, do we have Academy Awards? Let's see what we got here. Best Actor. Yeah, Call Me By Your Name. Oh, so we did get, that's right, he did get nominated for Bob Dylan. Did not win for Bob Dylan. And then in 2018, I guess, didn't win either as well. So had the breakout role, of course, in Call Me By Your Name for the acting stuff. And then a complete unknown. I think, again, he got nominated for that. I think a lot of he definitely carried, I think it showed his gravitas could carry a movie in a certain way, even though maybe the movie itself couldn't necessarily live up. And then you got the Dune franchise of him starring in sort of that big IP type thing. But I think, is Michael B. Jordan not sort of done that playbook again as well too? And they are a little bit different. Like Chalamet, I think, is the under 30 group, where again, Michael B. Jordan, I think, is more for the under 40 stuff, but still as a next generation. Are these the 2 next faces? I think they are, though. I think these are, honestly, again, if we're going under 40, if you just said who are 2 under 40 actors right now, I think these are the 2 names that you get. And I think I was gonna say 2 non-MCU names. Michael B. Jordan's sort of a half MCU guy. Well, but playing a villain in one movie. It's just when you. I think in conversation when we say MCU guy, it's not just somebody that's participated, because everybody's participated in the MCU at this point, but it's who are the franchise players in the MCU. I think it's sort of the question. But for Academy Awards, I don't know if he's actually gotten nominated for any. A Golden Raspberry. Oh, Fantastic Four. Hey, yo, I forgot about that, chat. MTV Music Award. Okay, that kind of counts. Primetime Emmy in there for sure. And then, a couple of nominations for NAACP Award for Fahrenheit 451. Oh, that's a limited series. I thought that was a movie. A mini-series? Best streaming or television movie. Oh, maybe it was. I don't know. Who knows? Fahrenheit 451 adaptation, though. Interesting. Again, Chalamet could have taken that role. Hey, yo. But, I don't know. We're just recasting Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan's taking some very specific roles. I don't think Chalamet's taken a lot of these roles that Michael B. Jordan has taken, which is, again, I think a little bit like the Just Mercy. Yeah, outstanding for NAACP nomination for that. Like Just Mercy was him like being like, okay, you can see him starting to get into this acting stuff in this type of way. Was Without Remorse a series as well too? I guess that was also a series. That's not a show, but that's him sort of carrying an action thing as well too. And I guess has already locked down a Critics' Choice Award for his performance in Sinners as well too, pending. So wait, when is this? Nominations were announced on June 11th. So when is the awards? August 7th. Oh, chat. So exactly 1 month from now, we've got Best Action Movie. Oh, chat. Here we go. This is a category right here. Screw the Oscars. Critics' Choice Award, Best Action Movie. Five years they've had this. Oh man, we've really been missing out. Imagine John Wick 2 over Extraction 2, Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, and Sisu. Oh, Chad, that's a better category than any year the Oscars have thrown out, and that's not even that great of an action movie year. Hey, yo, I mean, John Wick 4, Extraction 2, again, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, like fun movies, but that's not even like that high level of a year, to be honest. Top Gun: Maverick, Bullet Train, RRR, The Unbearable Massive Weight of Talent, and then The Woman King. That's a fun year as well too. I don't know why The Unbearable Weight of I guess. Maybe I didn't really actually watch this one, so I don't know. Maybe this has a little bit more stunts. We got an exploding car and some stuff in here. Okay. It's a little bit more action than I would have thought. No Time to Die, Gunpowder Milkshake, Harder They Fall, Last Duel, Nobody, and Wrath of Man. Yeah, it feels like, again, the 20 teens would have been the time for the Action Movie Awards. That's when we were really stacked for action movies. This is a good year. The Bloodhounds, Bad Boys for Life, Extraction, Greyhound, The Manhunt, Mulan, Outpost, and Tenet. Hey, yo, chat. Outpost, Untold Story of American Valor by Jake Tapper? A Jake Tapper movie? Hey, yo. Scott Eastwood, though. Shout out. But Extraction, you get Bad Boys for Life, and then Tenet in here as well, too. What's The Hunt, chat? The Hunt is, this looks like Nicolas Cage. Emma Roberts? Hilary Swank? Okay. Is this streaming anywhere? And then Greyhound. I'd say, is this a Tom Hanks? Oh. It's a war movie. Okay. I was going to say, is Tom Hanks a bus driver in this movie? But apparently not. Tom Hanks is a U.S. Navy commander in this movie. So Apple TV sneaking in there as well, too. Oh, Delroy Lindo in The Five Bloods getting a Best Actor. Hey, yo. So Delroy Lindo, if he's not back in the Best Support... I guess we got to look here. There's no way he's not Best Supporting if he's gotten... if the critics have already proven that they're willing to nominate him for his work as well, too. Let's see. Do they even have Best Supporting as a character? They have it all broken down by so many. Oh, they don't give out supportings? Hey, yo, chat. I guess you get so many, of course, of the categories. And it's movies and TV that you don't really need to break up it into the subcategories any further. But we've got Civil War versus The Fall Guy versus Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, Monkey Man, Rebel Ridge, and Warfare. Hey, yo, chat. I think this could be a real... I guess Warfare, people were really talking about this one as well, too. This might be a little too realistic for us to throw on. I don't know. We might have to give that one some time. But this might be like a Civil War versus Rebel Ridge, or Mission Impossible as well, too. I don't know. Is Rebel Ridge just the one that should win but is not going to? So maybe it's Mission Impossible versus Civil War. But Rebel Ridge will be the one that we're watching, years from now. It's like, what was the classic from this time? Rebel Ridge, chat. Hey, yo. But Tom Cruise, Taron Egerton, Best Actor in an Action Movie. So wait, Best Horror movie. Here we go. Bring Her Back, Heretic, Longlegs, Nosferatu, Sinners, and The Substance. Hey, yo, chat. Nosferatu and Sinners? It is a spicy category here. But I think those movies best, we need to just have a subcategory for those ones, I think. But this, if Sinners doesn't win in this category, chat, I mean, shout out. I think Heretic looked interesting from the trailers. Bring her back. You know, again, Longlegs, kind of a cult hit. Nosferatu, I think, was a big scale. Edgar's people love, so, you know, his direction in that is fun. I don't know, maybe he wins a technical award. But the movie itself, and then The Substance. I guess is this the Demi Moore? So you've got Demi Moore. We've already seen this movie, I guess, get nominated, and for her performance as well, too. I don't know if that carries. But as a total movie, I mean, hey, yo, chat. Again, Best Actress in a Horror Movie. Yeah, Demi Moore in The Substance. Lily Rose Depp in Nosferatu. Wilma Fitzgerald. Sally Hawkins, Demi Moore. Naomi Scott in Smile, too. Yeah, Demi Moore might win in this one. We got, oh, yeah, as Annie. So I don't want to butcher the name, but the Annie character in Sinners, it's either her or Demi Moore. So again, Demi Moore was nominated for the Oscar stuff before this movie dropped. So I think a lot of this, I guess, like Strange Darling, yeah, 2023. So a lot of this stuff would have been out in that time. So she's already shown that she's better than this. You know, Demi Moore over this field, we're picking Demi Moore. But Demi Moore versus a Mosako, chat, is a tough matchup. And again, I feel like this could be an interesting, do we want to award the Rising Star? Do we want to award the sort of legacy performance? What do the critics want to do, chat? The Critics' Choice Awards. They've got some choices, I guess, some choices to make. Best Sci-Fi Movie. Whoa. So they've got action movie and sci-fi movie. Hey, yo. I don't know if you even need to break it down like that, but I kind of like they do, because you get, I mean, even more better movie. Alien Romulus, Companion, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet Apes, Mickey 17, and The Wild Robot, an animated DreamWorks film, getting into the mix as well. So speaking of Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan, chat, those might be the winning performances. I haven't seen Mickey 17 yet, but, you know, Pattinson, you would assume that he delivers a good one in that. Oh, Lupita Nyong'o is in voices a character in The Wild Robot, and she got nominated? Hey, yo, chat. I mean, if you get nominated based off your voice work, it's got to be so good that there's no way you're not going to win, right? It's like, it just so happened that her voice work was the 5th best or 4th best acting. It's not the best acting. Like, I feel like, again, if you're nominated. And Best Superhero Movie. Whoa! Hey, yo! The critics, I almost feel like they're best villain in a movie. I was going to say best villain movie. That might be too far. The critics are actually, I feel like this is now, they're taking a shot at the people. Being like, okay, we get it. You like all these dumb movies. Best superhero and sci-fi broken into separate categories. Thunderbolts, Venom: The Last Dance, Robot Dreams. Hey, yo, an animated tragicomedy, a Spanish-French co-production. Hey, yo, The People's Joker, American superhero parody, Deadpool and Wolverine, and then Captain America: A Brave New World. This is literally just the superhero movies that were released. Like, shout out to Captain America, and shout out to Thunderbolt. Like, Thunderbolts is a solid movie, but I don't know if Thunderbolts should be, like, nominated for any awards. Again, shout out. But maybe, honestly, again, like Deadpool and Wolverine, if you just want to say it's a $1 billion movie, like, just throw it in over one of these other sci-fi movies as well, too. I guess Lupita Nyong'o carries The Wild Robot. So, Companion, hey, yo. I guess now the one that I kick out, it's going to be like, Companion's the best one of all of them. But, you know, whichever one. Maybe just expand the category. I don't know. But maybe you move one of them into horror. Companion looked a little scary there. American science fiction thriller. So maybe that goes into horror over, I don't know, Bring Her Back, or, you know, Nosferatu again. Maybe just nominate it in some of the technical categories. Do they have technical categories in here? No, they really don't. Hey, yo. So we're just keeping it basic. Then into some of the TV stuff as well, too, which I would even know less about. Dune Prophecy, a Dune TV show already? Hey, yo, chat. Who knew? But, oh yeah, that's not even, hey, yo, not even what we were gonna talk about. But yeah, so Michael B. Jordan, I don't even remember, something about him versus Timothy Chalamet. But either way, he is, you know, not that we of course weren't buying up the stock either way, but now I feel like we have to buy up the stock before it's too late, before he gets the Oscar nomination. Like, does Polymarket have odds already for best Oscar actor winner? Because, again, I wouldn't even have to know what the other performances are to compete against it as well. But, like we said, chat, 2010, 15 years ago, we got ourselves a little project that I say some might call it a classic. It may be fewer than others, chat, but the ones that do call it a classic know what they're talking about, and their music taste is definitely appreciated. I mean, the best of the best, chat, the finest of the finest, know what we're talking about, and that is Big Boi's debut solo album, chat. 2010. We got, what, 25 years after, all right, 24 years after the first solo album by Outkast was released in 1994. We get the first actual solo album by either of the members as well, too. And Big Boi has dropped a couple of albums since then. So it's not the only solo album that we've gotten from Outkast, but in some ways, does it feel like it? Hey, yo, chat, I don't know if his other albums have been, even as successful, and unfortunately have not necessarily made our rotation the same way that Sir Lucius Leftfoot has. Yeah, Vicious Lies and Dangerous Rumors, and then what else do we got? Boomiverse as well, too. So I don't know why it's leading here with guest performances from Adam Levine, but Jeezy, Killer Mike, Gucci Mane, and Currency is a great track list as well, too. And then, Sleepy Brown, Fancy T.I., Ludacris, so, always working with his southern hip-hop mates, always doing a great job of compiling albums. But yeah, Sir Lucius Leftfoot, chat. July 5th, 2010, we finally got our album from our guys. So we'll throw it on here and see what we got. Because again, speaking of underrated, this is definitely one of them. I mean, obviously, the success that they had with the double album, which of course was sort of both of their solo albums in Speakerboxxx Up Love Below, is like, it would be difficult to match, I think, that for any type of stuff, because especially Speakerboxxx as well too. Like, the Love Below is, both projects are obviously very, very strong. I mean, the album won the Grammy. We could go back and look at that. Did it win over the Blueprint? It may have, but what do you do? It's obviously a super strong album. But the way that Speakerboxxx is compiled compared to the way that Love Below is, like, you kind of see, of course, some of the early work for what could have been their potential solo careers after this, because I do think that is maybe one of the things that would have been interesting about this album is, what if it just had been dropped in a different time as well too? Because, I mean, obviously Outkast and Big Boi and what they're doing sonically was, pretty unique the entire time as well too. But why can I switch this over, chat? Okay, here we go. We are cooking now. But yeah, again, we get this album in, we don't want to expand that, chat. Hey, yo, pause. We want to go to the album. Shout out the Ringerverse. But we're not doing a Ringerverse thing. Hey, yo, chat. What episode even is this? I think it's Mid Condition, the video game show. Hey, yo. I was just trying to listen to a draft. That's all. Just trying to go back and see who they liked as leading men. But here, can we close this out and just get to the album? Because yeah, again, it drops in 2010. He started working on this around, I think, 2007. So they were even still, doing work together as a group. Obviously, again, Speakerboxxx Love Below is like 2002, and then Idlewild, I think, is 2006. So, then it's like, okay, well, I guess after that, it's time to do the solo careers after Idlewild. But yeah, then he goes to work on the project. But then it's like a couple more years, obviously, before we actually get the release of it. And make sure here, let me get the speaker turned on as well too. But the fact that the time passed, but also the game changes a little bit in that period as well too. And I mean, it obviously it is starting to shift anyways in the early 2000s from where they were at in their run in the 90s. But even Chad, even the intro track, he always knows how to stack an album too at the front. Chad, hey, pause. Whoa. It is what it is. The start of this album is definitely very strong, but some good songs in the end of the album as well. Hey yo, chat. We didn't say it was a skipless album. We said it was a classic album. But yeah, so you get them dropping their last major solo project in the early 2000s, but then you get Kanye, of course, is starting to enter the game in a major way with his releases, and Just Blaze as well too. But that whole sort of soulful type of production where Jay-Z's hopping. I mean, Jay-Z is kind of been in that range as well too. But he is leaning into some of that stuff as well. And then the Southern stuff is definitely, popping off with guys like T.I. and stuff. But it is other faces now starting to carry the mantle for the Southern hip hop. And he is, this album still at the time was still met with pretty good reviews. Again, still pretty successful. But it's dropped at a time where, again, not only the Southern stuff is changing, but just everything around it is changing. Where now, some of the mixtape stuff has really started to pop off. And, of course, 2011, the next year, is the first real big year where Drake drops Take Care. And then you get Kendrick dropping Section 80 in that year as well, too. So it's like, okay, the big three is now starting to really get established. And then, again, J. Cole's working on some of his mixed up. Joey drops in 2012. He drops 1999. So you start to get the next generation to be the ones on the scene, and those projects obviously are kind of the ones that, at least I guess speaking for my rotation as well too, like can kind of be the ones from that era that definitely live on. And then by the time you get into the sort of the middle of the 20 teens and then into the later half is when you start getting some of the other guys and then that's where the trap scene really starts to flip. And I think that's kind of what maybe hurt some of the stuff with this album as well too. It's obviously a very sonically different album. It's just a funky enough album where you put this at any point in hip hop history and there's going to be a uniqueness to the sound of it. But specifically for some of the South stuff, it does feel like, and again, like you get some of the T.I. stuff is like, the trap stuff is definitely, and Ludacris as well too. Some of that stuff is definitely already in a major way. But the way it starts to shift as well too, when you get like the Young Thug type stuff starting to happen, is a little bit different from obviously what Big Boy is trying to put out here from a sound. So if it's like, if this album is dropped more in the peak of their, obviously if it's dropped at the peak of their Outkast days, like what does that mean? But then how does that correlate with what they were putting out for projects at the time? We'll never know. And again, the album, at least for the fans like myself, still holds up regardless. But also I think definitely proves the balance that the group needed as well too, because I think it definitely could be the greatest hip hop group of all time. Their work together is some of the most for a discography, again, for some of the great ones, because you get like NWA, again, you just didn't have as many albums together, obviously, the full group together as Outkast, or even how many Public Enemy, the first couple of albums are classics for sure, but how many did they actually drop? I would say that those would be the two that you could say get ranked over Outkast if I was just thinking off the top. Yeah, they have several. I was going to say they had a bunch, but I don't necessarily know some of the 2000s discography from Public Enemy. But of course, Takes a Million and Fear of a Black Planet are iconic albums. And the He Got Game soundtrack is great as well too. But yeah, again, their total discography together is obviously I think some of the classic album value of it definitely holds a little bit more than some of the other groups. So again, I'm not saying that there's not the case that they're not the number one. It's just how do you want to balance the influence as well too with some of the earlier groups before them. But if you do look at the totality of their work together, like it is fun to again think about how they balance each other out because with the way like looking at NWA, like it's pretty like a group like that kind of makes sense how it functions. And again, you got like it's not to say that Ice Cube couldn't creatively drive the sound of a project, but you've got a producer like Dr. Dre. And again, not to say that Dr. Dre couldn't get on a verse and drop bars if you needed to, but you got a guy like Dr. Dre who's going to be like, okay, I'll handle some of the creative stuff, and then got the guys as well too laying down verses on top of that. And Public Enemy's a little balanced as well too, but that you get some that's a little bit more the Outcast, like some of the guys handling the production and then the bars as well too. But both of these guys obviously kind of do both, where Andre on The Love Below, I believe, produced all of his tracks. I don't know if I'm assuming Big Boy, obviously had a hand in production on all of his tracks, but he definitely did on this album as well too. But the balance of the song structure stuff that I think Big Boy provided with some of the music stuff that Andre provided was the perfect balance to get that group, because that's the thing that this Big Boy album, and you see it obviously on Speakerbox as well too. And Andre does get theirs with like Hey Ya's obviously a massive sort of pop hit as well. But Big Boy's ability to structure a song is what really stands out over the course of these projects. And he was always making sure to have, catchy hooks and structure full songs in that type of way and bring it on the right people to handle those type of things, or, making sure that the hooks were in conjunction with what he was able to accomplish, but also was always just going to be like, hey, I'm going to be on here, I'm going to drop bars on this verse, and then there's going to be, again, a chorusy type of situation, and we're just going to keep the songs to that type of structure, and we're going to make the beats unique with our type of sound. And that is, I think, the perfect balance to what Andre was doing with some of his music stuff. Because, again, you go to a project like The Love Below, which is, again, the only solo project that Andre has really done. And this album is, like Big Boy, I don't know if you say he has a better solo career because, again, some of the Andre feature stuff, like he's become obviously such sort of a legend in the feature game, and anytime he gets on now, I mean, obviously his verses are great, but the award stuff is there as well too. I mean, again, well deserved. But again, Big Boy actually does have the solo career and actually does have a project that you could actually say is like, in some ways, actually like an underground sort of low-key classic project. And with what Andre was doing on The Love Below, it does get a little abstracty and a little, again, like at that point as well too, they're both so veteran in the game. They've had a decade-long run at that point that they're both so comfortable at making projects and structuring songs and making hits that they know what they're doing. It's not like Andre obviously doesn't know what he's doing. But Big Boy, I do think, was a little bit better at that type of stuff. And again, maybe Andre's just taking more chances as well too, and just getting a little bit more experimental with a lot of his stuff. But as we've seen him as well too, and that's the part that I guess, again, you'll never know in the balance of it, is like, would Andre have, is this just, if he had a solo career, is this the way he would have sort of developed anyways, like where his first couple of projects are more straightforward, but again, groundbreaking hip-hop type stuff, but again, it's still more standard-y hip-hop type stuff. And then he gets into the, okay, here's a flute album, here's a piano album, I'm sort of going to be the guy off in the corner, like dropping, wisdom and be the philosopher of hip-hop now. Like, is that just the route he would have taken or did he take this route because he was able to get a lot of that sort of not basic, but again, use a lot of that traditional music career stuff out of the way earlier on? But that balance of the hit making sort of strong structure type stuff, I think, is the perfect element to the game that Big Boy was able to bring. And his taste for music and beats as well too is different than Andre's, but again, just as good as well too. Like Andre, I mean, if you and just who knows, the Love Below is obviously just trying to be probably a certain thing, and it's very obviously jazzy and orchestral and very symphonic in sound, but a lot of the funky type stuff that it's definitely a little bit of a breakaway from what the Outkast stuff was doing. Like Speaker Box feels a little bit more like an Outkast album. So it's impossible to say like, okay, is Big Boi directly responsible for more of the Outkast stuff? And again, I don't know, like do more documentary watching. Like it's like, okay, here's the clip of like Andre is like, oh no, he's actually did 75% of the work. But just listening to the music, you're like, okay, well, some of the stuff that Big Boi is doing in his music is a little bit more resemblant of Outkast. And again, I don't know if that's just Andre just being more experimental, or if that's just the influence that he was able to have on the guys at the time as well too. And I haven't delved into the solo albums outside of this, so maybe we'll go through the other two and see kind of what he's able to do with that stuff, because I feel like he could have definitely, if Big Boi had definitely leaned into some of the more trap stuff as well too, like you see, and not necessarily that Killer Mike has like a banger album like that. Michael's a little bit more soulful for sure, but you see some of the stuff that Killer Mike was able to do, teaming up with LP on Run the Jewels, and then now pivoting back into his solo career. Like Big Boi could have had a solo career kind of a Killer Mike type, I think. But and that's just him back again in sort of a duo as well too. Killer Mike in a group for sure with Run the Jewels. I mean, that's another sneaky one. They don't probably have a case obviously to be like number one, but they're definitely high up on the rankings for sure of the all-time groups. Again, if we're ranking groups versus like guys that often collaborate or guys that are just like duos, I don't know, we start really getting the technicalities of the list in that type of way. But yeah, again, his work as the number two, whatever, however you want to say, just as part of a tandem. Like, I don't think Public Enemy obviously has the solo careers, I would say, outside of their group career that the other guys do. NWA, again, they don't have necessarily the total group career, but they have the best solo careers of any sort of group guys with Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. I think that's probably pretty undeniable. And again, I think you could argue that their project as well too is the best project of any group ever. So again, it's kind of it's like, okay, what box don't they check outside the fact that again, Outkast has like it's not even LeBron versus Jordan, it's more like LeBron versus who's like an awesome guy with like three. LeBron versus Shaq. I mean, Shaq still has 4 titles though as well too. But like the peak of the powers versus the totality of the career. But then if Shaq had like a solo, I don't know exactly how you break it down. But I mean, you could, again, that it's the argument that makes them as great as they are, I think, is what they're in. Andre, his work in the feature game can't be denied. But I think Big Boi's work in the album game can't be denied as well too. Because even if we are breaking the Love Below and the Speaker Box up into solo projects, again, you're probably ranking the totality of the solo projects of those 3 projects. You're probably giving Big Boi the 2. So you could also say that he was a better album maker than Andre. And again, it's impossible because Andre's never really given us that full-on hip-hop solo album. And we assume that if he actually gave it to us, it would be awesome. And again, there's going to be some high points in there and some bars where you're like, that is incredible. But the back half, like, you don't even really get him rapping in a traditional way in the end of Love Below until you get to the last one, A Day in the Life of Andre Benjamin. And it's an incredible track as well too, and it's incredible bars, and it's an incredible story, and the beat is very hypnotic, and I mean, it's just all the Andre stuff that you'd like. But his ability to stick to that in a project is something that you just go, okay, is he actually gonna do it? What is the experimental stuff gonna look like in an Andre project? Is it gonna make the full album? Like, how is that gonna impact the full album experience? And if you looked at, and again, maybe you have different rankings as well too for the three projects. For me personally, that's how I would rank those three projects. And like, hey, if we were doing a song ranking, if we were doing the features outside of it, and just the individual, this is Andre's 3K's high point on a verse, on a song, what he's able to do. I get it, but maybe it's a little, a one game versus an 82 game season. Like, Big Boy, is he gonna, like, he's the durability? He's gonna play all 82 games? Like, is Andre 3K a little Embiid? Not to say that he's not gonna not show up, he's just not gonna not play. But, and shout out to Embiid, just like, just poor guy's not even able to stay healthy, obviously. But it's like, okay, would you rather have the 82 games of consistent performance, or would you rather have the guy who the high points are potentially the highest high points of anybody we've ever seen? But I think it is fair to say, with the discographies that they have, it's fair to say that Big Boy's a better outmaker. And again, like, even when he's given the chance to drop a solo hip, it's not like Andre 3K can't drop a solo hip-hop album. I mean, he definitely could. He knows it would be well received. He knows the people want to hear it. And I'm saying, like, how would people... people would love it. It probably wins a Grammy. If Andre 3K drops a solo hip-hop album, and again, I'm not trying to be, like, discrediting him here. Part of him getting that credit is establishing himself in this career to be this great. But at this point, it feels like if he would have dropped, we almost need a Drake line where it's like, Andre 3K opened his mouth, someone give him a Grammy, right? Like, if he dropped an album, it almost feels like it would be a lock to win best rap album. And again, a lot of that is what we would expect from Andre 3K. But given the chance, he doesn't do it. He drops flute albums, he drops piano albums, he wants to get experimental in all of these different ways. And Big Boy is the one that was like, you know what? You want an album? I'll give you an album. You want rap and beats and bars and those type of things? I'll give you fun verses and a fun time and fun things to sing along to. And again, is he addressing some of the stuff that Andre does? And Andre has a way to just really, like, whatever just emotional stuff and whatever state of life he is in at the moment, like, he's just very pause raw, hey yo, like, he's very open. I don't know what the probably very vulnerable with what he is saying in his lyrics, and that is gonna endear him and connect him into fans in a certain way. But the wordplay of a guy like Big Boy, the barring and just sort of the classic hip-hop rhyme scheme stuff, like, he's always been able to do that stuff at the highest level as well too. And maybe that is the one thing that he could have probably done on this album a little bit more, is maybe get into some of that stuff a little bit and rap a little bit more meaningful across the bars. But I mean, that's we could get into that conversation for anybody. That's not like Kendrick at this point, or Cole or something. But again, his ability to in his lane operate is still amongst the highest of anybody that's been ever able to do it. So, we get Big Boy. Do we get Big Boy in Sinners 2, chat? I mean, he's also, I think, dabbled in some of the acting stuff as well too. Speaking of the South, he's in that ATL movie, if I remember correctly. I guess just another excuse to go back and rewatch ATL, him and T.I. again. But even him picking features on this album, like, he picks a lot of guys that obviously work in that, and people that they've worked with before in that Outkast era as well too. But bringing in a guy like T.I. into the mix, Jamie Foxx into the mix, they were early into the Janelle Monáe stuff, but it feels, but her collaborations are, again, on this album. She's in Be Still. Is there another one? Or she collaborates with them on Idlewild, I think. And then maybe she is on Speakerbox as well too. And again, Love Below is more of a solo project. I think you only get Khalees and Rosario Dawson as a feature. Hey, yo, chat. 100K. But it definitely limits his his work. It's like, do we need a Drake album where his only two features are, I guess, probably not going to get SZA. Well, SZA, she's definitely like I'll be friends with a lot of people, and and I think Kendrick is definitely okay with that. But and not to say that's like, okay, her friendship list needs to comply with Kendrick's, but her being definitely on his side of stuff feels like you definitely move in a certain type of way, it would feel like. But if he got, because like, who's a R&B, ayo chat, we need to get more into the game, who's it? But nobody is operating on that level as well too. Like she's in just anybody to look at like for their genre, she's just kind of dominating a stratosphere that way. But it was like, okay, if Drake just had, or I guess if Kendrick had SZA and Sydney Sweeney on his album, like SZA and Zendaya on the next Kendrick album are the only two features. So Rosario Dawson and Khalees. But he always surrounded himself with good features as well too, and putting them in the right position. Like, okay, you're bringing it on for a feature verse, but I need this guy as well too is gonna operate the hook on this song in these type of ways, and bring it again the launching of Janelle Monáe's career as well too. Like there's some stuff. I wish we could go back and just retry the Big Boy solo career, Chad. Remake some of these albums because he's definitely got the hit maker, feature builder type stuff going on. And again, this album is one of the weird albums where you would almost think that this would be a project that would have like the legs where it's like, okay, maybe it gets a little under received in the moment, and then as time goes on, becomes the beloved project. And I think it has sort of circled back around, obviously, to be that. But there was a weird retroactive history with this where I know we've mentioned this before, but Pitchfork in their review gave this like a 90 plus when it first dropped, and A+ album, this is great, which again, totally agree with. But then they did the retro reactive view and was like, actually we maybe been a little too ambitious on this album in the first place. It wasn't just a review on this album. They were doing maybe the albums we were a little bit too highly on in the moment type stuff, and this was on their list as well too, which again is a weird thing to go back and look at this Big Boy album and be like, actually not necessarily checking all of the boxes, versus there's some fun cuts, and gets a lot of directions as well too. Like again, bringing in Janelle Monáe, hits a couple of slower tracks, but also like a couple of fun, some dance tracks, some more fun poppy tracks as well too. So definitely covers a lot of the bases in terms of, hey, I'm gonna try to tap into some different fan bases and some different style stuff as well too, but still kind of the same funky sound all the way around from start to finish. But yeah, again, in the moment there was some good review stuff, and again 2010 is right before the big three started up, and Kanye at this point, I mean, has obviously had a dominant run. Like Graduation is 2009, and he definitely shifts into a different part of his career. I mean, you get Watch the Thrones in 2011 as well too, so he's still definitely dominating, but there is again sort of a next generation thing waiting to happen as well too. So I'm also even a little more surprised that this would have not gotten some a little bit more awards consideration at the time, but maybe I'm just not totally remembering it properly here. So let me see if I can go back and look this up real quick, because I don't remember exactly what got nominated. That would have been, it got released in July again of 2010, so it would have been probably more like the 2012 Grammys than the 2011. So the 2012 Grammys were October 10th, October 1st, 2010 to September 30th, 2011. So it would have been the 2011 Grammys, which would have been a window of, I guess it doesn't say in the short version there, but October 1st, 2009 to September 30th, 2010. So yeah, Eminem wins for Recovery that year. You've got Bobby Ray getting nominated, the Adventures of Bobby Ray getting nominated, Drake with Thank Me Later, Jay-Z with The Blueprint 3, and Roots How I Got Over. Hey, yo, so Jay-Z with The Blueprint 3 and Drake Thank Me Later. Drake definitely, I mean, the industry, was obviously in on Drake early as well, too. So he wins in a couple of years with his next album, Take Care. So the nomination for Thank Me Later definitely helps that. And again, Drake, the character, like you go back to that project and be like, oh, early Drake, there's some fun songs on there. Like it's fun to revisit because it's Drake. But I don't know if it's start to finish necessarily a way better project. And again, even Jay-Z with The Blueprint 3 as well, too. I mean, that's got some massive hits on it. But I don't know if it's... I mean, it does become a similar conversation, a little bit of like comparing the high points of the album, I guess. But the high points of Sir Lucius Left Foot versus Thank Me Later... Ooh, chat. That's a close one. I think I probably would. And definitely, I mean, shout out over Bobby Ray. Again, some massive hits on there, for sure. We don't want to take away from the fact that some of these songs were everywhere at this time. But even, I guess, Eminem in Recovery as well, too. This is going to have Love the Way You Lie on it. And is Lose Yourself? It's not on this AO chat. I don't know. Eminem is not the discography to ask your boy about, unfortunately. Where's the track listing? Here it is. Okay. Oh, Not Afraid is the yo chat. That's the massive hit that I'm thinking. Yeah, Love the Way You Lie. So you got a couple of really big hits on this song for sure, and Cinderella Man as well too on this album. So again, comparing high points, definitely some crazy Eminem high points on this one, but that's not necessarily a crazy field. The Roots, I think, pretty safe. The Roots are always dropping pretty consistent projects for sure. But what else did we even have in this time? Let me see if I can go back and pull up a year-end ranking and see what we had as well too. Because again, with some of the Grammy window stuff, it is not always easy to remember what year versus the window that we had. But here we go. 50 best albums of 2010. Paste Magazine. Hey, yo, chat. So this is just... Oh, wait. Is this link broken? Or is this just a link to pastemagazine.com? I want to link to the actual... I'm sorry. Best album... 10 best albums of 2010 vibe? Hey, yo. So again, these aren't even necessarily hip-hop album rankings. These are just straight-up album rankings as well, too. Jasmine Sullivan, Love Me Back, number 10. Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday, number 9. Sir Lucius Left Foot, number 8. The Roots, How I Got Over, number 7. T.I., No Mercy, number 6. Hey, yo, chat. Janelle Monáe, number 5, with the Arachnidroid. I don't know if I said that right, but, with that project. And then Eminem with Recovery, number 4. Drake, Thank Me Later at 3. Rick Ross, Teflon Don at number 2. And then, oh yeah, I guess My Dark Beautiful Twisted Fantasy. I was thinking that was 2012 for some reason. But was that 2010? Was that like the end of 2010 versus this was more? Because again, that was winning the next year at the 2012 Grammys. So maybe that's why I was thinking that. But yeah, it had it number 8 on the year overall. So, and we're not sitting here saying it's better than My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But if that's the other competition as well, too, like shout out to Nicki, shout out to even T.I. as well. I mean, I think we could go back and revisit that T.I. project and say that there's probably some cuts on there that we need to visit more often. But in terms of revisiting, it doesn't hold up to some of the early T.I. stuff with, now I'm going to forget the first, Trap Music. With Trap Music or King. Obviously, you're probably going to go back, at least for me, you're going back to those two first. Or even, Paper Trails has got some hits on it as well, too. But, some love for No Mercy. And then T.I. versus The People versus T.I. That album, too. That album got nominated as well. But, again, we don't revisit that one as much. But Entertainment Weekly, A-, The Guardian, 4 out of 5 stars. LA Times, 3.5 out of 4 stars. Am Powers, what was Am Powers out here saying about let's see. Outkast stands virtually alone as a hip-hop triple threat, possessing hard rhyming rap credibility, risk-taking artsiness, and hooky smart charts. Hey yo, Chad, the ads are going crazy right now. Big Boy has always brought the block to the party, but this collection proves he's doing more than smoking blunts out back while his partner Andre 3K played around with some psychedelic funk. Hey, yo, chat, Big Boy getting no credit. Sir Lucius Left Foot highlights his focused language skills within musical settings that touch upon rock, electro, dubstep, classical fanfare, grounded in a thick bottom that guarantees plenty of booty bounce. I think that's what Sir Lucius he was going for. I mean, I do think that he was probably thinking, like, how do I need to get as many booties shaken to this album as possible. And I think this album definitely has that kind of vibe. But Big Boy said that he jumped to Death Fam after executives at Outkast label Jive told him Sir Lucius Left Foot is a piece of art and didn't know what to do with it. But the era of avant-garde goddess MIA and mope rapper Drake and the depth of Lucius Leftfoot also seemed perfectly pop. So that was part of the reason that the album got delayed, was the label battles that he was having there. But tracks like Shutterbug and Tangerine are plenty sticky with an icy electro edge that dance floor mavens love, and on-point guest turns by Cudi and T.I. shine blockas with Sleepy Gucci Mane doing some of his finest work is made to pour out of a car window. And Follow Us turns Marietta, Georgia alt-rock band Vanguard into Big Boy's personal One Republic. Yeah, that song might actually be one of the skips on the album. But, shout out to the performance on the song. So, again, very complimentary in the time. Rolling Stone, 3.5 out of 5 stars might actually be a little bit down on it compared to some of these other reviews as well, too. Let's see what it says. Big Boy's first official solo album is a stunning reminder of Outkast rappers' Hall of Fame skills. He's got an inevitably sticky and speedy flow and a personality bigger and more forceful than anything his producers can throw at him. From Scott Storch's clobbering electro-funk Shutterbug to Lil Jon's eerie crunk Hustle Blood, Big Boy is, as ever, steeped in pimp mythology, tailored alligators, souffle escalades he raps, and You Ain't No DJ. But in truth, he's less pimp than craftsman, packing more style and more substance into his 4-minute-long songs than any other rapper delivers in an entire album. Hey, yo, Chad. Cut that out and hang it on the wall. It sounds like a 5-star review, honestly. I don't know why you're writing that and giving it 3.5 stars. Pitchfork, yeah, in the moment, 9.2 out of 10. I don't know if it has the revision score on here. It doesn't. Okay, thankfully it doesn't, Chad. Best new music. Every rap group has one MC who is possibly unfairly perceived as slightly less than the other. Oh, DMC. We forgot about Run DMC, Chad. Is Outkast slowly sliding down the group rankings? Hey, yo, Chad. Those are some tough arguments to have for sure. But Big Boy has been on that list ever since. Andre 3 Benjamin started rocking pith helmets and neckerchiefs. Big Boy's not underrated exactly. Everyone who knows rap knows he's a great rapper. It's more he's taken for granted. Ooh, that is a good way to put it, Chad. Virtually every Outkast review of the past decade and half, nearly every Outkast review of the past decade and a half has positioned Big Boy as the earthy street-level anchor to Andre's spaced-out visionary. I mean, it's kind of what we were saying, but it seems like a good thing because I think Andre maybe actually does get a little too spaced out, which is the problem. The guy responsible for securing the group's cred when Andre was trying to invent new colors, expects Sir Lucius Leftfoot to change those conversations. We haven't heard a major label rap album this innovative, bizarre, joyous, and masterful since it's in a long time. It's almost impossible to imagine Andre putting out a solo album this strong anytime soon. Oh, chat, there we go. Tearing it out. Hey, yo, Andre, get out of here. Where's your Sir Lucius Leftfoot? No chance. Andre has I don't know if you guys are playing the Flute album that much, but at this point, Big Boy has every right to indulge in the bitter old man in invective that's tempted so many other rappers of his generation. Even though he's half of one of the most successful groups ever, Big Boy has had to go through years of release date delays and label drama. Some of the topical lyrics here sound like they were written years ago, until he finally left longtime Jive so he could release the solo album already. Label mechanics kept Andre's voices from even appearing on Sir Lucius Leftfoot. That is true. There is no Andre on this album, but again, I never even thought of that as a bad thing. Honestly, like the fact that, again, in Andre 3K, if he's on there for a track, I'm sure it's a great addition to the Andre 3K combined discography. But the idea that even totally separates him even more from Outkast and makes this more of just a Big Boy project, I think helps it as well too. Keep it in that kind of Big Boy mythology of it all. But keeps his voice from appearing on serious stuff. Heartbreaking when you think about Andre's jaw-dropping display on the early advance single Royal Flush. But instead of letting these setbacks infect his music, Big Boy made an album that explodes with ideas at every turn, that glides and twitches and mutates with delirious urgency. Musically, the album drips with 80s synth funk signifiers. The keyboards glimmer as they roam, and talk boxes mutter and blurt. But these tracks aren't stoned. These writers, chat. Ayo. They aren't stoned. So someone like, we're gonna pull Kevin Garnett here. Stoned. DM Funk cranks. Okay, that's the review, chat. Pitchfork is loving it. Hey yo, it is what it is. But yeah, again, the uniqueness of this album, I think, helps it stand out. I think it helps Big Boi solidify his legacy as a part of the group. And I don't think there's any reason to go back and look at the album and go, okay, this is... let's see if we can find that review real quick. Pitchfork, Big Boi, Ayo. And we will see what it says here. Oh, yeah, there was also a story about him trying to get Kate Bush on the album that apparently didn't work out. But the Boomiverse review, what score did they give Boomiverse in 2017? Oh, a 7.4. They kind of liked it, chat. Big Boi returns with a collection of shiny bangers, unbothered with modern trends. He's got jokes, insights, insults, wisdom, and confessions, all shooting out of the nozzle of fire hydrant. Hey, yo, chat. So 7.4 feels pretty. 7.4 this year would be like a top 3 album, honestly. So I don't know. Big Boi needs to get back in the game, if anything. But I don't know if I can find the retro. Hopefully they deleted it. That's why, chat. They got it out of here and said, actually, we were wrong. But yeah, Janelle Monáe, chat. We're on the Janelle Monáe track. I guess we got it turned down pretty quiet. But she's great on this as well too. We're pro Janelle Monáe, so anytime we get her in the Outkast universe, it is going to be definitely a win. I mean, we may go back and throw on Idlewild tonight, chat. Or these Bronny highlights again. We got the Lakers up by 20. Hey, yo. Bronny's even out there. Bronny going to the bench. Imagine playing a game. Bronny's like, oh, light work today. Doesn't even get to finish the game. Hey, yo. And that's that Heat lineup we were just saying that were, making us worried about playing the Spurs, chat. This fearsome Heat Summer League team. Maybe the Lakers are back to their old school building amazing Summer League roster ways as well too. But yeah, for your sorrows, I guess we don't have this one saved in here. So it is what it is. And I want to say that I guess we were on the deluxe. So I think it goes to Shine Blockas on the actual album. Then we get Train Part 2, Backup Plan theme song in the Shine Blockas remix with the deluxe version of the album as well. But yeah, again, underrated for sure, but it is one of those things where it's just sort of a left out of the conversation versus, like we're saying, there was one, review where it's like, hey, is this more of a whoa, sneeze? No, it's not gonna happen. Did we sniff it? I think we. Whoa! Oh! Oh, there it is, chat. Okay, we weren't lying. It was in there somewhere. Pause. But hey, whoa. But what were we saying there? Sneeze, wiping away the memory. It is what it is. But yeah, whatever. Either way, Big Boi is a classic, iconic legend. And oh yeah, I think it's more of a just doesn't get brought up in the stuff, which again is also underrated. But there is not necessarily a retroactive conversation that is happening as well, versus where it's like, oh, are we doing the rankings this way, but also like, why is this guy up here, or oh, what's happening this way, and then we have to kind of defend his spot in the rankings. Like, it doesn't necessarily feel like that's kind of where it feels like obviously the Drake people are at right now, where the Drake people feel like, no, actually he should be at the top of the list, like he deserves the spot on where he's at or whatever. But it feels like the other way, where obviously it's more like, hey, we got to get this guy actually into the conversation. Because again, I think we're not saying that the Andre 3K solo, the what he was able to do post the Outkast career is obviously very impressive. I guess it really depends on what year that International Players Anthem verse was dropped, but I feel like that was, early 2000s as well too. I want to say that was, oh no, yeah, that was '07, so that was post those Outcast days. So you've got the International Players between. I mean, the three verses that I'm thinking between International Players Anthem, Life of the Party, and then Scientists and Engineers. I mean, between those three, that's a pretty crazy post career. I mean, that alone can almost equal a great solo album. But again, it's equaling up to what his other mate was able to do there. The point being, there's an equality between the two solo careers that I don't think is necessarily judged properly. Even though, again, he's achieved directly competing, non-competing on the double album, but also in some of the stuff outside of that as well too, where his solo project was. And again, it's not, his solo projects are different than Andre 3K's, but those are the projects that we have to judge him against. It is what it is. It's just the facts of the matter. Andre 3K has a flute album, and Big Boi has a banger, classic, funky hip-hop album. It's just what it is. Hey, yo, Chad, I guess we are staying long enough to watch the start of the Spurs game. It's just about to get going here after the Lakers run. Do we have to... Let me get an update here on the total performance for our guy Bronny. Oh, wait a second. Didn't play in the second half. No second half minutes for Bronny. Enough work they saw enough, Chad. 11 minutes, 10 points. They said good to go. 1 steal. Maybe send him back out there with a chance to get a couple of assists. Didn't get any today, but Dalton Connect 2 for 7. So he hit a couple of shots, but yeah, it was Cole Sider, 7 for 10, 20 points. That was leading the day, and Darius Baisley as well too. Oh, chat! Whoa, hey, yo, chat. Darius Baisley. That's only the type of guy that could be on the Lakers, where you're like, oh, okay, I forgot about. Do I like Darius Baisley? It's like, I don't know if I've ever had Darius Baisley stock in my life, but I don't know. For some reason, these guys just end up on these certain rosters, and you're like, I don't know if he's gonna impact that team, but it is what it is. I guess I can admit that I can get swept up in not the Laker fandom of it, but the sort of, hey, yo, the like, oh yeah, this guy can be the guy. Maybe it's Darius Baisley. Is this the new Max Christie for the Lakers? 6'8", nice wing option off the bench in a playoff. A 10th man if they need a guy. Maybe 10th man's too. 11th, 12th man if they really need a guy. But that could be an interesting, just take a swing in Summer League if he turns into something. You never know. So between Baisley, Bronny, Dalton Connect, and Swider, they're looking good set for Vegas. Hey, yo, chat. Khalil Ware, 4 for 10 today. 1 for 4 from 3. Kasparonis only 0 for 3 from the field. So not great for him there. But, and then again, not super familiar. Oh, they got Golden on the bench for Miami. Didn't play today. What are we doing? Miami lost by 20, and Vladson Golden couldn't even get in a Summer League game. Down 20? Hey, yo, that might not be a good sign. Or it's a really good sign. It means they're saving him for Vegas. Golden's too good to be playing in the California Classic. It is what it is. But here we go, chat. Shout out to incredible album. Incredible job by Big Boi 15 years later to go back and revisit. And the next track, Shine Block, is one of the iconic tracks as the outro track, one of the hits off of this as well too. And one of the samples that I think has been flipped a couple of times after this. I don't think it was used before this. I forget exactly what this was. Because again, he doesn't necessarily do a ton of that type of stuff in his production. It is a lot of the original beats and doing the kind of funky stuff with his band that he was talking about in the making of this album. But for this one, it's a little bit more of a traditional sample. Whoa there. I Miss You by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. 1972 is the sample for this track. I want to say Corday used it on his album as well too. Oh yeah, and then This Can't Be Life with Jay-Z and Benny Siegel, and then yeah, Corday and Meek Mill. A ton of songs here, Chad. Jada Kiss, Pleasure P. Hey yo, shout out to Pleasure P in here as well. But yeah, one of the iconic sample beats, of course, in history. And here, let's go. I guess Jay-Z would have been the first to use it as well. It is a little bit, slower in that, but yeah, still definitely the same. So here, wait, let's see. Earliest to latest, maybe the best way to look it up. Oh, Missing You, Sean Hines featuring Holiday, I guess is the first one listed. And there's a couple of other guys on here as well too. But Big Boy would probably be the next major one before Jada Kiss, then Lil B, then some other guys start to flip it. But then I think, so again, Big Boy is probably flipping it from the Jay-Z thing, but then it, I think, really kind of caught on after that as well too. Because that's obviously a massive song, but it is a little, it's a little lyrically dense. There's a lot going on in that where you're like, okay, I don't know how often I'm going back and revisiting that one. But this is a iconic one to go back and jam and to have a good time to as well. So it's a great way to, of course, put an outro on a great classic project. Did we just hit skip, chat? Hey, yo, how long is this night song? We just want to hear Shine Block us. I'm on my shine, shouty. I'm on my grind, shouty. And he just had fun. He's just fun, chat. Like it's that sort of that Pippin energy from Big Boy. It is what it is. It's an energy that, definitely carries into, through ever. But just if he had managed to, with some different production choices later in his career, again, I'll go in, Chad. Saying like, hey, don't underestimate the other Big Boy stuff as well too, even if it is not of the times. I guess that's what, is what we're saying is special about this album. So we don't want to discredit the other albums for not necessarily achieving that as well too. But I think maybe just the nostalgia of this one being the first one that he dropped as well definitely helps with the sort of legacy aspect in it living on too. So that cannot be underestimated. The start of the whole new thing, him breaking off, the first, again, solo project that the group in general is releasing, and it being a little bit of a wait away there. But I imagine that sort of changes the fan base as well too, where, I don't know, what are the aspects, like is there the way where like, oh, Big Boy's on TikTok now and he's able to still, keep up the fan base even though the group has changed. It's still like, I don't know if he's playing the media game in the 2010s the same way to be able to maintain that sort of top dog type status, or if it is just, hey, this is, again, not disrespectfully, but more just the former Outkast member at this time in the mix. But yeah, he does. I was like, wait, I think I just sat on the phone and just paused it there. But yeah, we are going now. So hey, yo, chat, for some reason the Spotify here is not updating. There we go. Okay, shout out the classic Big Boy album. But let's take one more quick break. Oh, do I almost just watch along with this last couple minutes of Sinners, chat? Hey, yo, no, we'll take one more quick break and come back and wrap up the show, chat, right after this. Shout out to Big Boy, 15 years later, iconic. Okay, chat, we are back. Oh yeah, the old sample history for Big Boy Song. There is one question we had to ask the chat GPT before we go, because this was a debate that was going around a little bit now that there was a new fight announced that seems like it's going to be a new UFC fight, we should say. That seems like it's going to be Conor McGregor's return fight. I guess I don't know how legit him returning to the fight was for that matchup, but it seems like we are actually going to get a McGregor versus Chandler debate. But of course, Topuria just got a win, taking the 2-belt crown in the UFC, and McGregor was tweeting out and commenting, congratulations on Topuria for winning my old titles, which just, continues to prove McGregor's greatness in the trash talking game, because that is just such a great piece of trash talk where it's clearly like a post generational piece of trash talk. Like, Conor McGregor is not, back in the day he would obviously have been, even if he wouldn't have necessarily have actually pursued the fight for Topuria, like maybe even a little like he's doing with Chandler right now or whoever, but there may have been a calling out of Topuria in order to actually fight Topuria, or to seem like he was setting up for that some type of fight. The talk would have been, of course, about how he's a better fighter, how he wouldn't stand a chance, how he's gonna knock you out, to take you down, do all the different, he's mess him up and do all the different things. But now it's clear, like, okay, he's not saying that I'm a better fighter right now than Topuria, but it's like, hey, I've walked this path that Topuria has walked, and I actually walked it first and paved the way, and me being the guy that won those two. I guess I don't think he was actually the first guy to win 2 belts. Let me actually look up the history of that real quick. Do they have a 2-belt, 2-division winner page on here? Let's see. Oh, yeah, would not have been in their 2-division title. Yeah, let's see here. It officially announced when won the next belt after dropping. He became this result the first time you see. Okay, held it. Yeah, so this was the first time that he had it in 2 different weight classes. 'Cause I know like Cejudo and stuff has one as well too. So here, wait, is it in the UFC Championship page? The double. Oh wait, what was it got? Multi-division champions. Here we go. Couture. So wait, is this holding the belt or winning multiple divisions? BJ Penn, McGregor, stripped twice from featherweight and lightweight. So wait, unifies? Is this both of them here, chat? Oh, one and then lost. Okay, so one. Oh, so I guess we just do the math, and see the overlapping dates of it. But St. Pierre, Cormier, Cejudo, John Jones, Pereira, and now Topuria in the mix. So fighters who have won championships in multiple is the first notable to hold belt in 2 divisions, and one of the few to reclaim the title is the first to hold the titles. Okay, so yeah, McGregor won them simultaneously. So Penn, as was 04 and 08, Penn was a little bit different between those guys, but Topuria now, of course, gets his name into the mix. And Topuria's response was, I think, also shows Topuria's level, because I think fighting is in most sports, like 3-point shootings like this, where they say it's the mental game. Free throw shooting as well too. It's the mental aspect of the game. But fighting, feels like everything, technique as well. Everything's a technical sport, but it feels like in fighting everything's accentuated, where the technique is more important, the mental mindset is more important. It's just all more important, that type of scale. But Topuria's confidence and mentality is right up there with McGregor's as well too, and he is, he'll definitely talk the talk, and he'll initiate trash talk as well too. McGregor is just the quantity was there as well, but Topuria, he had the whole celebration of the win the night before. That was really cold, and Oliveira in his career as well too is at a different stage. Like, I think a lot of the odds kind of reflected, I think, a lot of people would have thought, and he won even more dominantly, impressively than I think, again, people thought that he would have won. But the idea of a hypothetical Topuria versus McGregor fight is obviously really interesting, because they're both just such great stand-up fighters, and I do think that Topuria because McGregor was going up in weight, like the thing about McGregor was he was sort of being his most dominant, obviously with the knockout stuff, at the lower weight classes. And I think Topuria has seemed to continue the knockout power a little differently upwards. Like, I think he was definitely supposed to get the win over Alvarez when he got the win. Here, let's go back to McGregor's career and remember the timeline for him shifting events. Okay, here we go. Here is his career. Where is his record at? Yeah, mixed martial arts record. So, gets the wins. Poirier, Mendez gets the belt. Where's his first belt win? Won the interim belt over Mendez in 15. Won the unified belt over Aldo. In the incredible, one-punch victory over Aldo as well. Which was an interesting fight. Like, I mean, Aldo was definitely his best all-around opponent that he would have played at that point, and would have matched up against at that point. And it is a credit, obviously, that he was able to take him down so impressively, and a credit to his power and all of that. But it is interesting if he would have been dragged into a fight against a legendary guy. So, I mean, that's the Topuria thing, is Topuria, again, just hasn't really been dragged into a fight. They said, I think he won each of his last 3 fights before the 3rd round, maybe? The 3rd round, but then, that's not even as impressive as it is, because he's fighting in 5-round fights. He's not even fighting in 3-round fights. So it's like his fights aren't even really making it halfway through the fight as well, too. But, and, we're not disrespect. I mean, facing Holloway as well, too, back in the day. But we might need to go back and rewatch that Holloway fight, because that's obviously Holloway and Poirier as well, too. Definitely some of his best opponents. But lost the welterweight fight to Diaz and then got the win. But again, had to go to decision to get Diaz. And his belts weren't on the line for those fight as well, too. And then was able to go back and get the win over Alvarez. But then Khabib's a different type of opponent. I mean, we could debate the greatness of Khabib versus Topuria. And I think, Khabib versus Topuria is honestly probably a better fight. I think McGregor and Topuria stylistically is a cool fight, because both those guys are, again, such great stand-up guys. The power is there, the tension of what's going to happen. But Khabib's surgical operation in the ground game would be, a great combat. And honestly, Topuria, his one-punch power versus Khabib could be one of the things that you feel like could actually could actually upset Khabib in that setting. Like, this actually might be the ChatGPT question right here. Who would win a fight, Khabib versus Topuria? Because I think Islam versus Topuria right now is an interesting fight. And Islam is a really great fighter. I think Islam versus Khabib is a really great fight as well, too. But there is a little Master Jedi thing there where you think that Khabib kind of knows Islam as well, too. Maybe he would know his weaknesses, know how to get him. Like, the familiarity of that matchup may actually lend a hand to Khabib. But maybe Islam is a little better in the ground game. Like, I think Khabib is definitely a strong puncher. Hot take, strong puncher. But in UFC terms, I'm trying to remember how many fights he would have actually won in that way. Okay, he did get a TKO win versus Daryl Horcher in 2016, and a KO versus Thiago Tavares as well. TKO, KO. So there, yeah, I mean, he definitely was sprinkling them in there for sure. AO. So, I mean, again, he's such a great ground game guy that's just going to be the majority of his wins. And it's not even about him winning versus TKO. It's more about how he's using that, again, over the course of the fight as well, too. But just such a great... And that's where he's going to be focusing on getting his opponent into that matchup. But if Topuria was able to fend off those takedowns and able to land a couple of punches, like, he has the ability, obviously, to be able... Because we saw... I'm trying to forget who the guy that rocked Khabib was, but somebody got him. It wasn't like... Again, a legend guy. I think it might have been earlier on. But wait, let me go back here. Maybe what was one of those later fights as well, too, was kind of tough. What was the last, like, longer fight he had? Gaethje, he got round 2. Al Aquinta, round 5 decision. And then McGregor. So McGregor did get him to round 4. But I feel like Khabib really dominated. And then, dominated McGregor, but... I feel like he really did. It didn't feel like McGregor was going to win that fight if it went to a round 5. That would have been like a Leon Edwards-Usman situation. McGregor knocking him out with like the last punch or something like that. But Topuria versus Khabib, I think, would be all time because even early in his career as well, like Topuria is only 17, I think, fights. He's like 17-0 in the UFC. So how many is he gonna have? Is everybody gonna be like a 30 fight guy? But he still has several title defenses and still a bit of a run here as a UFC star. You would have suspected. And for this conversation for McGregor is an interesting one for us as well too, because we definitely like everybody gravitated toward Pereira as a lead fighter, to cheer for in the last couple of years. But we were fans of McGregor before that as well too. So Pereira doesn't really overlap with McGregor in terms of like a fight. Again, there could be historical stuff where you're like, what's Pereira's all-time rank versus McGregor's all-time rank? But that's also interesting as well too, because Pereira is a little ground game or a little stand-up dependent, the way that McGregor is. So it's the scope of the stand-up game in the divisional class, the power and the dominance. Do you think that Pereira's power is more impressive at his weight class than McGregor's power at his weight class? And how do those things like? I guess there's a conversation to say that pound for pound, McGregor could be in that mix versus Pereira. And Pereira definitely, of course, could match up with John Jones. I mean, John Jones, of course, said that he's kind of retired, but historically, there could be a what-if matchup between those two of those guys. But you still feel like John Jones in the ground game is, again, dominant enough that a guy like even Aspinall, like if Aspinall was fighting a peak John Jones is still going to be favored. But the reason that Aspinall is a tough opponent now is just those guys are in certain phases of their careers where Aspinall's at the peak of his powers and John Jones is just not. But if we're doing the all-time sort of legacy stuff, then John Jones definitely, peak John Jones definitely gets probably the nod versus basically any other person in any of those weight classes. You start getting to some of the heavyweight stuff in history, then obviously the power there becomes a little bit interesting. But even him facing a guy like Cormier, who was able to go back and forth between divisions, like it's definitely, of course, possible that he dominates both divisions as well. But Topuria, again, like directly competes historically against McGregor, and the McGregor Khabib thing, like we've definitely there's matchups there. We've probably made peace with that sort of historical ranking aspect of it. But now again, a new guy being injected into the mix. Like, oh no, don't forget about McGregor. Like I'll take McGregor's side with the first is always the best sort of way to look at it. Like, oh, you can't take away from the fact that he paved the way for the UFC superstar. McGregor's the first one. He's the Bill Russell of NBA or UFC superstars. Hey, yo, Chad. Maybe he's more like the George Mikan in a way. Conor McGregor, the George Mikan of superstars. So maybe we just start giving George Mikan more credit on the pod as well too. We start like, okay, the greatest players of all time, MJ, LeBron, Kareem, and George Mikan. We'll just start, naming it like that. But Topuria, of course, and again, him being in the moment, peak of his powers, is really starting to move up scary in this weight class for the all-time stuff. So we may have to get a little answer here from the ChatGPT. And it obviously has to be a championship fight for sure. So this is where spelling is not going to be helpful here. Do we ask nicely? Can you? So we got we got to simulate a 5-round fight. 5-round championship fight? I don't know. Does that make Topuria more of a favorite? 5-round championship fight between Conor McGregor Chael and Ilya okay, wait a second. Ilya Topuria. Here we go. Wait, we got it, chat. Topuria? Maybe? I mean, it'll know who we're talking about. So, simulate a 5-round fight. Hopefully McGregor makes it, chat. Hey, yo. McGregor 155 versus Topuria moving up. I mean, McGregor goes down, chat. Do we want McGregor with the extra weight, or do we want Topuria with the extra weight? I don't know. But based on do we simulate this at both 145 and 155 just in case McGregor loses? Or I like Topuria as well too. Topuria is right there for being my favorite fighter right now. after, we don't want to just discredit Pereira as well too. But I'm willing to jump on the Topuria bandwagon unless I have to take a side with the McGregor-Topuria thing. Then I just don't know. Oh, wait a second. So now I'll spell the name right going forward. Topuria, don't worry. I'm a fan, like I'm saying. But I'm just I'm nostalgic for the area that I grew up with as well. It is what it is. But yeah. So and again, I was saying before, this is Topuria, that we're fearful for our guy. Well, what did I actually say? What Topuria's response was? I said it was a smart response, but I said his response was that, like the NBA and like the NFL, you give credit to the guys playing now for being better just as like time moves on. You give them that sort of benefit of the doubt, where it's like, and like the way LeBron was saying, oh, Giannis would score 250 points a game in the 50s or whatever. Like why don't we just do that with fighters, where it's like, okay, the fighters now are just better and more advanced, and not disrespectfully, but building on the techniques of the fighters before. So now do we have to do if McGregor was coming up as a fighter now, but also McGregor fought 10 years ago, 5, 6, not even 10 years ago, but peak of his powers, 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, is not like, the rules and stuff have definitely changed a little bit, but it's still, I don't think it's NBA level. We can't compare eras in terms of the fighters. And maybe the whole, fighting maybe is a little different in that aspect as well too. But 5 rounds, winner by simulation. Hey, yo, chat, I'm nervous to scroll down and see what happens. I feel like this could be like a round 2. I feel like ChatGPT will give Conor McGregor some respect. And do we put in a year here? Like 2016 McGregor versus 25 Topuria, and see what happens? But McGregor starts fast using his classic wide stamp, prepping with temp kicks and long left hand. Topuria pressures, looking to get inside Conor's range and threaten the body with overhands and level changes. McGregor lands a clean counter left midway through the round that gets Topuria's attention. Ilya eats it, but gets a takedown late. Minimal damage on the ground. So, winner round 1, McGregor, 10-9. Uh-oh, chat. That may be the best it gets. Let's see what happens here. Round 2 is Topuria adjusts. He closes the distance faster and starts landing heavy hooks. McGregor still gets some sharp counters in, but he drops slightly. Topuria mixes in calf kicks and looks to take the fight to the trenches. Yeah, chat, if they have to go with some of the submission stuff. And again, we haven't even really seen Topuria have to use his ground game. Like, you're probably it's not gonna be ideal to go to the ground against Oliveira. Like, you're gonna say, okay, I can probably knock this guy out. But still, I feel he's definitely very capable there as well too. I'm a little less experienced with his tape in that way though. But the McGregor just has no tape of him on the ground as well. So I don't think it's good tape of him on the ground. But he secures another takedown late and lands meaningful elbows before the horn. Round 2 winner, Topuria, 10-9. Okay, so are we going to just guess that round 3 is tied based on... Oh, chat! I spoiled it for you, but I didn't see it when I looked away, so... I don't know, round 3, is it going to be tied? Did I accidentally see a Topuria round 4, or is that just what I wanted to see? But I didn't see a KO or anything like that in the quick scan. But round 3, okay. Pivotal round. McGregor opens strong, snaps Topuria's head back with a left uppercut, and avoids early clinch attempts. But as the round wears on, Topuria's pressure and body work slow Conor's footwork. They trade heavy shots in the final 30 seconds, both slightly hurt. Round 3 drawish. Either edge could go. Topuria maybe. It says Topuria maybe, but round 3 is close. So yeah, round 3, of course, you would expect to be a draw. Let's see who they're saying. It feels like Topuria is going to start pulling away here. Round 4. Topuria takes over with pace and wrestling. McGregor's output fades. I think they're simulating some of the McGregor versus Khabib fights here. McGregor output fades. Topuria pressures him to the cage, lands short punches and knees, dragging him down repeatedly. McGregor defends him well, but looks winded. Topuria dominates position and control. Round 4 winner, Topuria, 10-9. Uh-oh, chat. And again, he had the slight edge in round 3, so one of the judges is going to give him round 3. That's for sure. So probably definitely winning on the overall scorecards. At this point, McGregor probably needs a knockout in round 5. It's not looking good. McGregor comes out knowing he needs a finish. Yeah, he swings big, lands flush with the left hand that stuns Topuria. Whoa, with an exclamation point. I think it's the first time I've ever gotten ChatGPT to get an exclamation point on here. Conor McGregor Hey, yo, chat, star power. Even the robots love Conor McGregor, but Topuria clinches immediately. This is realistic. And goes back to the wrestling. Hey, yo, chat. Staying glued to Conor. Hey, yo, pause. McGregor tries to scramble, but can't get off the mat. Topuria controls the final 3 minutes. Oh, chat, that green check box is going to Topuria. Hey, yo. McGregor goes 5 rounds, though. That's good. Pause. That's solid. You know it's going to be a battle. Winner, Topuria, 10-9. Oh, Chad, he got him in 3 of the... he got him 4-1 on the rounds. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. It is what it is. Official results. Ilia Topuria beats McGregor via unanimous decision. The new double champ. 48-47, 49-46, and 48-47. Hey, yo, so I think the discussion becomes this judge that scored at 49-46 in favor of Topuria. But either way, McGregor with a very, very great effort. I think probably maybe making it further than a lot of people would have estimated as well, too. Significant strikes. Topuria definitely getting McGregor there, 83-60. No knockdowns either way, but Topuria with the takedown game and the control game is really what's able to get the win. So that is pretty realistic. I mean, that exchange where McGregor gets him good with the swing, but then he clinches to try to make up for it. I mean, you definitely see that happening. And then Topuria changing the round after that. Minor visual damage for McGregor, moderate for Topuria. So it is saying that McGregor's significant strikes that it does land are a little bit more impactful than Topuria's. It's just really, again, that ground time. Is this a little Volk versus Islam in this simulation, maybe? Topuria, moderate damage in round 3, but that's the round that was a draw? So, hey, yo, maybe this does become a little bit of a debate for the McGregor fans in here, chat. But would you like to see a prime version of McGregor? Hey, yo, was that not prime McGregor? Is this current McGregor? Or run it at 145? Yeah, chat, let's go. Hey, yo, let's go 16. Is 16, do we want 16 or 15 McGregor? We don't want him necessarily losing to Diaz. Hey, yo, but again, Diaz, you don't want to necessarily underestimate him as well, too. So Aldo fight McGregor, 2015 McGregor. So we go 2015 McGregor versus 25 Topuria. And we'll, hey, wait a second. Topuria, and then at 145, and see if this is gonna be disastrous. Like 2-round fight. Topuria just takes him out. McGregor's got no substance to take the blows. Oh wait, hey, pause. 2015 McGregor versus 25 Topuria, and see what happens. Oh, okay. So now we're in a fantasy simulation. Before we were just writing the script. Now this is actually just us simulating what's going to happen. Pre-Aldo KO, 18-2, peak movements, confidence, and timing. Topuria, undisputed champ, elite pressure boxer wrestler. Style matchup, pretty similar to what we had before. Just, of course, a twitchier, faster McGregor. Wide karate stances. McGregor, probably a lot of yelling in Topuria's face before this as well, too. I don't know if we get Mohawk McGregor in this fight, but that's definitely a terrifying version of McGregor as well, too. So he opens fast again in round 1. He lands a clean left jab at 215. He takes round 1 still in this version of the fight. Round 2, I'm guessing, still goes to Topuria. Topuria takes round 2, tightens his guard, stays in the boxing range. Body shots start to land. Mix in a blast double leg takedown at 145. So still, getting that takedown work, even on younger McGregor. McGregor stumbles backwards. Hey, yo, I don't know how to write that in there, chat. But round 3 momentum shifts. McGregor dials up the urgency. Nasty sidekick to the body, followed by a left straight. Cuts Topuria's eye. Ooh, chat, 2015 McGregor with the kicks. You forget about the kicks. Topuria lands a few short hooks, but McGregor controls the tempo. 10-9. Here we go, chat. Here we go. McGregor 10-9, round 3. He's leading on the championship grit. Both fighters look fatigued. Topuria volume starts to slow, but he switches to grappling mode and lands a trip takedown at 3 minutes. Keeps McGregor grounded for over a minute. McGregor is defending but not escaping. Topuria ground control wins the round. Oh, chat. So, I mean, they're definitely doing this for our benefit. It's listening in and it knows that we're fans of McGregor at this point. And also that we asked for a peak version of McGregor. Probably would incline that we're trying to favor McGregor in this fight. But a little more even on the scorecards going into round 5. I mean, again, if it's saying that this version of McGregor is going to compete with Topuria, then you would expect the Prime version as well to be even more competitive. But round 5, here we go. The decider, 2-2. McGregor starts strong, lands a couple of kicks, and even tries a flying knee. But Topuria refuses the retreat. He walks forward, lands a monster body shot, right hook combo, then drags McGregor down again. Uh-oh, chat. It may be different math, same result for the championship fight. I don't know if we can rig this for any way to McGregor. Can we rig this for what if Topuria uses steroids and gets caught afterwards? I don't know what we have to use to... And then maybe McGregor is not the one to have on the other side of that matchup in that case, but he drags him down. Final minute, McGregor tries to scramble up, but Topuria grabs the back, threatens the choke. Conor survives, but it's Ilya's round. Chat, we tried. It was close. 10-9 Topuria in the 5th. Definitely a much closer fight all the way around. And somebody even scores it for McGregor. Yeah, split decision. So McGregor 2015, split decision. I don't know, 2016 after a Diaz fight if he's looking for a rematch. But that's a close one, chat. If Conor doesn't finish him by round 3, Topuria grinds out a close war. So that was really the thing to take advantage of in this simulation was just giving Conor some more early energy on to see if he could close the fight. But let's go, who do we say, chat? Oh, Topuria versus Khabib. So we want like 20, I guess any version, but like 2018, 2017 Khabib. I think, again, McGregor is, up there for his, McGregor's all time. So up there for the opponents that he's fought in. Gaethje, Michael Johnson, 2016, maybe. He wins. When's he win the belt? Wins the belt in 2018. So yeah, probably 2018. 2018, 2019 Khabib. How about 2018 Khabib versus 25 Topuria. And we'll see what we get for this fight. I don't know if we want to simulate the whole, these whole divisions versus Topuria, but these two guys, of course, would be interesting to see. So 2018 Khabib, let's see what mega fight, Eagle versus El Matador. Khabib 26-0, just beat Conor, and Topuria at 15-0. This actually would be maybe the greatest fight of all time. 2 undefeated fighters, because McGregor and Khabib were McGregor wasn't undefeated. Yeah, he'd already lost to Diaz at that point. So, and he probably lost a couple times, just randomly throughout the past. I mean, he was up there with the win streaks though. But yeah, had a couple of fights that he lost. The Cage Warriors, chat. Lost a Cage Warriors match to Joseph Duffy. And then Artmij Smitenkov in Cage of Truth 3. Hey, yo, is that a fight or a Tubi original? I don't know what was going on there. But a couple of losses there. And then, yeah, again, the Diaz loss as well, too. And I guess, yeah, really stacked the losses here as of late. But at 155, Topuria, reigning champ, moving up. Khabib, chain wrestling, top pressure, cardio, mental domination. Topuria, boxing, power, balance, anti-wrestling, ground and pound. This is pressure versus pressure. The immovable force versus the unstoppable rise. Topuria's compact, deadly striking and stout wrestling defense versus Khabib's control and takedown. Yeah, this is a powerhouse matchup, chat. I honestly have no idea what's gonna happen there. I was pretty confident, similar matchups. Topuria a little better on the ground, has the ability to control the fight late versus a guy like McGregor. Probably figured out how that one was gonna go just on a simulation standpoint. But this, I really have no idea. Especially, again, Topuria at this point, there's nothing in the simulation to be like, here's the weakness as well, too. So Khabib kind of has that similar thing with no losses, but yeah, we'll see what ends up happening here. So round by round, simulation. Round 1, testing the waters. Round 1, maybe a little boring. Topuria's aggressive, though. Okay, looking to stuff Khabib. Whoa! Oh, looking to stuff Khabib's early shot. Okay, we should have finished the sentences there. But Khabib uses feints, presses Ilya back with cage pressure, and shoots a single leg at 2 minutes. Topuria defends brilliantly the first time, but Khabib is relentless. At 120, he gets Topuria down and starts his patented leg tie-ups and short shots. Topuria fends well, though. Minimal damage, but 10-9 Khabib. So that's not good, chat. Khabib wrestling him down early. Hey, yo, getting control. Topuria is just going to have to catch him in one of these later rounds now. at this point. He would have had to win round 1 and then, front foot forward for that as well. But Khabib closes classic Khabib in round 2. Khabib closes the distance, dragged Topuria down again. Ilya scrambles up once, but is immediately mat returned. This time, Khabib starts landing heavier ground strikes and elbow. Chat, the dominance of Khabib. Nobody can stop Khabib. Hey, yo, Topuria looks frustrated. He's never been controlled like this. It's round 2. I think they're probably giving Khabib as well, too, the advantage of, again, being a veteran in the game a little farther along than Topuria, still newer at this point as well. I mean, they're not even giving him the fights that he just had as well. But so that would definitely help. But, yeah, so Khabib up 2-0. On the scorecards, and Topuria, the frustrated look. That's the other thing. Is like we literally never seen him like that. He's always been the most cool, calm, and collected guy in the ring. But Topuria adjusts. Here we go. He starts to find success on his feet. Hard body shot. Right hook lands clean. Khabib is hit flush, but eats it. And he did have a he like I was saying, he had a couple of shots for sure back in his day. But Khabib looks slightly slower on entries now. But Topuria stuffs a takedown and spins off the cage beautifully. But Khabib still lands a final takedown late and controls him in the mat. Very close. Slight edge to Khabib for the control time. I mean, chat, they know it's very... I mean, this is as frustrated as I would be in real life. Be like, oh, Khabib, the takedowns, he just can't be stopped. It is what it is. But if the idea as well, too, of Topuria getting a couple of shots in round 3 after being... handled in the first couple of rounds. Like, if he's getting handled like that, just Khabib is just going to continue to wear and tear. And the odds that, again, Topuria still has that strength, but they're just going to keep getting lower and lower. If we go into round 4, deep waters, Topuria goes for broke. He starts cutting angles and lands a huge right hook early, wobbling Khabib for a second. The crowd erupts. Whoa, chat, they didn't say we were holding this fight. This would also be a crazy international fight as well, too. I don't know if they actually hold this in America. We might have to ask that next. What stadium can hold this fight? Hey, yo, you get 100,000. This is 100,000. Am I being crazy for Khabib versus Topuria? And the card for this would be. We might have to just build out this card real quick as well too. Topuria goes for broke. He starts cutting angles and lands a huge right hook early, wobbling Khabib for a second. The crowd erupts, shoots low for a second. They scramble. Khabib gets Topuria's back against the cage and locks in the Dagestani ride. Whoa! Ilya's gas tank now showing cracks. Khabib mauls the pressure and knees thighs. So 10-9 Khabib. So Topuria is still not getting submitted as well. I think, going back to the Khabib run there wasn't even a ton of decisions for a second at the end there as well. He was at least able, or maybe I was looking at them, or maybe they were all decisions. No, because he was getting the finish pause on McGregor. For sure. So maybe round 5, it doesn't go to the bell. We'll see here. One last chance. Topuria swings big. He lands a left hook. So that's 3 straight rounds that Topuria has swung big on Khabib, and Khabib has ate the shots. Like, again, Khabib just winning this matchup in general, even in a dominant wrestling fashion, would obviously solidify his all-time status. This fight would happen. But the idea that Topuria could still give him his best efforts with the hook, and it's like, oh man, Khabib's iron jaw is like, is up there with amongst the best as well too. Would even make him, I think, even more terrifying than just, because I feel like in this all-time matchup, you could go a little bit of the historical experience with it. We're like, okay, give Topuria a couple more fights, get him back in there, and who knows? But if he just eats up Topuria's shots, then it's like, what does he do? But but Khabib is unbothered. He shoots again and gets Topuria flat on his back with 4 minutes left. A minute in the round, he's already got a takedown, and we're like, oh man, is Topuria gonna make it through the round? Khabib takes a while Topuria lands shots. Classic mind game. Hopefully we get some mic'd up moments of Khabib be like, these are my belts. I don't know how we get 4 belts, but they're giving me 4 belts. I'm winning the belts for 2018 and 2025 at one time. Give me 4 belts. But nearly gives the neck. Whoa! Hey, whoa! What did they just say here? Topuria rolls to his knees, nearly gives the neck, but survives. Complete control from the Eagle. So this took a wild turn in round 5. I think Khabib gets disqualified, and that's how Topuria wins. Or maybe I'm just misinterpreting that. But 10-9 Khabib, so Khabib wins every single round. Wow. ChatGPT says nobody could stop Khabib. Hey, yo. Official sim results defeats him unanimously, not even close. Complete domination, chat. So Khabib really stands above his own. It says Khabib versus Islam. Hey, yo. Can anybody, we have to ask, can anybody stop Khabib? Is it possible? What is a short answer? Very few, if anyone, have ever. Let's break it down. I don't even want to break it down. Who could have? Islam. So it's given St. Pierre as well too. Darish, Benel Darish in his prime. Oliveira as well. Canelo in the boxing ring. Hey, yo, ChatGPT making jokes over here. ChatGPT, I don't know why he wants to beat up Khabib, but just finished Justin, Dustin, and Connor in a row. Hey, yo. So the white guy murderer's row just takes them all down, chat. It is what it is. So it's Islam versus Topuria. So I don't know. We sim that one as well too. We don't want to sim that. We'll maybe save that one for a later date. But I do actually want to know, where would a Khabib Ilya matchup be held? Because neither American fighter gives you the opportunity to really expand this. I mean, probably Abu Dhabi, right? It's probably just over there. But do they have like a 100, I don't know, 70? Because I guess the football stadium upgrade, we're giving them like a, 100, the soccer stadium, 100,000 or whatever. But the idea of them doing a football stadium, which I think they've done before, biggest UFC audiences. Here, wait, let's Google that while it gives us a biggest, pause, UFC, audiences is what we, live crowds, biggest UFC crowds. We'll see if that gives us the answer that we want. Here we go, largest attendances in history. Oh, are we looking the 50Ks? 50, 60K? So yeah, kind of in that football stadium range. So if they really solidify themselves with this fight in a football stadium, for sure, but maybe they even go the next level up. Top locations, top 5 venues, yeah, Abu Dhabi, for sure. Madrid, Spain, the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium, 80 plus. Hey, yo. At the Arena, I think was where they've done stuff before. 18K. Yeah, for sure. UFC loves oil, money, and tax breaks. Hey, yo, ChatGPT. So, yeah, here we go again. Oh, it's just a different version of the ranking. Las Vegas, Madison Square Garden. Oh, they go to Georgia, the country where Topuria's from. The stadium over there, I guess. Or they do it in Russia. Seats 80,000, has hosted the World Cup as well, too. I kind of like, if they could go to that, if they go to Spain with 80,000, but I feel like Khabib maybe wants to have a fight more on his territory. But I don't know what the Khabib Spain fandom is like in there as well, too. Massive UFC history, Spanish nationalization plus global range. Yeah, I think, something in this range would have to be probably right. And I guess if we're going the fake card, we could go historical in the card. That might be a crazy task to try to figure that out. But the best, what would be a 2018, or I guess we could just have, can you build an 18/25 matchup card for this event? And let's see what we get, chat. A crossover of 2018 fighters versus 2025 fighters. Maybe we get McGregor on this card. I feel like McGregor being the undercard, Khabib would be kind of crazy. Hey, yo, we get Cormier and Paul Felder on the call. We get, of course, the main card of Khabib and Ilya. A co-main of Max Holloway versus Movsar Isla. Butchered that name, but a 2025 top contender in the featherweight versus 2018 Max Holloway. Hey, yo, there we go, chat. 2018 Dustin Poirier versus 2025 Arman Turkson. I've seen this guy fight before for sure. That would be a fun matchup as well, too. A win over Poirier might be a little star-making for him for sure. Then Robert Whittaker versus Bo Nickel. Whoa, that's a fun one for sure. And then Valentina Shevchenko versus... Oh, a 2018. Maybe we get a 2018 Shevchenko versus a 2025 Shevchenko. Let's see what happens. I got 2024, but versus Aaron Blanchfeld in 2025. And then some Islam, 2018 Islam in the prelims. Ooh, a little meta there, Chad. He could also be on this 2025 card as well too, fighting a 2018 version of somebody. But versus Gamrot in 2025, Usman in 2018 versus Rachmanov. Oliveira 2018 also versus Diego Lopez. Whoa, that's like really flipping history. So I don't know if Diego Lopez has an advantage over Oliveira in either fight, but that's a fun one as well too. The younger Oliveira. And then 2025 Sean O'Malley versus 2018 TJ Dillashaw. Whoa, on the under. I mean, this is a stacked prelim as well too. This is the greatest UFC card of all time. Early prelims: Paddy Pimblett versus Kevin Lee, Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Faiz, Brian Ortega versus Arnold Allen, Amanda Nunes versus Manon Fiorot in 2025. In the early prelims, Amanda Nunes is the first fight, and there's like 20 more fights before we even get to Islam versus Khabib. So I don't know. UFC, get ChatGPT, get a time machine, and let's get this going. This, Dana White, we got a little advice for you. 2018 Khabib versus 2025 Ilya. If you can make that happen, I think that might be a mega event. But I think he probably knows that as well too. So there we go. Maybe Khabib obviously stands a little bit of a chance versus Topuria than McGregor, according to ChatGPT. But I still give McGregor a chance. I'd still lose money on our guy in a fight versus Topuria. It is what it is. But we'll see if he actually makes his return to the UFC ring at some point and see how that goes. Hopefully it's not, hopefully time hasn't passed him up too much. But we will make our return to the YouTube airwaves Tuesday, of course, business as usual, having a good time, breaking down something. It'll be fun, chat. So, yeah, stay here, stay tuned. We will be back. You can subscribe, of course, to stay locked in for when we go live. And the feeds go up on the podcast feeds as well, too, so you can find the live streams later on Spotify and Apple and all those different platforms. And if you guys want to message us at REMINGTOM on Instagram, drop us a little DM over there if you guys want to connect with us that way as well too. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and we will see you guys later this week. Peace.